evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Selectmen's meeting for the town of Weare for November 30th, 2020. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item on the agenda is a noise issue with a Mr. McManus for tannerite. And if there's people that want to come in, Chief, could you excuse us? Lisa, Justine, could you give a couple seats up for these people to come in for a minute? Yeah, you'll have to stand up there, identify yourself, and this is going to be short and sweet because we have a public hearing, so.
Yeah, just I have a statement just to read off my
Okay.
letter. Good morning, or I should say good evening. Hope you can hear me through this mask.
You're welcome to pull it down.
You're welcome to pull it down while you're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you're there. There you go.
My name is Phil McManus. I'm here to voice my concern on the tannerite explosions of the recent past. I have been a homeowner and resident of Weare for 10 years, and I have enjoyed the peace and tranquility that a small town like this one offers. Frankly, I'm surprised that more homeowners have not come forward, as I have, with a sense of urgency. I would assume the reason for this is for fear of intimidation and retaliation from the individual involved, as well as like-minded people who support this reckless action. Let me make myself clear. I'm not here to take anyone's rights and freedoms away with respect to gun ownership. I fully support and believe the Second Amendment and own a gun myself. I know people believe they should have the right to do as they please on their own property, which is all well and good. This is why people choose ownership over renting. Our state motto is live free or die. Great motto, providing what you're doing in the state and on your property does not infringe on the rights and freedoms of your neighbors. My goal here is to find a peaceful and fair resolution to this issue that all parties can agree to. Tannerite, according to the manufacturer's recommendation, is to be used, and I quote, as a target indicator only, and should be used in a remote area only and respect the adjoining property owner's rights to tranquility. As always, respect local noise ordinances and always use tannerite brand binary rifle targets as directed by the manufacturer, end quote. On July 15, 2016, during a Noise Ordinance Committee meeting, Chief Sean Kelly spoke about RSA 644-2, disorderly conduct statute, which states a person is guilty of disorderly conduct if he purposely causes a breach of the peace, public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm, or recklessly creates a risk thereof by making loud and unreasonable noises in a public private place which can be heard in a public or private place, which noises would disturb a person of average sensibilities. This is the only option police have in this town with respect to tannerite and other loud noises. Chief Kelly urged the town to have some sort of noise ordinance as an added tool to use for those people that don't have the courage to speak up for themselves. And this is when the police department could be their voice. Apparently, Chief Kelly's town ordinance request fell on deaf ears since the ordinance committee meeting 4 years ago. For the better part of 2 years, the homeowners of Hoyt Mill Road and nearby Stark Highway have been subjected to explosions so loud and potent that our homes have shaken. Complaints of dishes and items falling off walls and counters, and an individual complained of chest pains with a heart condition after the explosions. My dog has a heart condition, and I fear if these explosions continue, he will go into cardiac arrest and we'll lose him. I requested a Form 91A information report request from the Weare Police for the recent tannerite complaints, which occurred on November 3rd, 10th, and 11th of this year. On November, there were at least 17 complaint calls in this town and many calls from our neighboring town of New Boston. At Hoyt Mill Road, we have a community and well water infrastructure that serves our community and neighboring trailer park, and at present is in a fragile state. The concussion from these blasts, these potent blasts, could be harming our wells. My neighbor Jim Marty could explain in more detail as to why we need to address these explosions and the negative effect that could be occurring. July 10th of this year, I circulated a formal letter and petition with 8 signatures from the Hoyt Mill community and submitted them with a town Weare complaint form to the town selectmen. My neighbors and I, to this day, continue to be subjected to random tannerite explosions. According to the police, there are days this individual shooting the tannerite celebrates, such as Veterans Day, the Marine Corps birthday, and other events, and has a group on Facebook that follow him. I noticed that I was listed as the only resident on the agenda with respect to noise issues and tannerite. I believe, in fairness to me, it should have been included after my name, the residents of the Hoyt Mill community and others that are impacted. In closing, let me state that I am a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, love my country, love the fireworks on the 4th of July, and any event that celebrates and honors our vets and this country, but not in a reckless and disturbing way that this individual chooses to celebrate. It's excessive and should not take place in a residential area. When you're in the comfort and safety of your own home, and at 7 p.m. at night, and out of nowhere, a blast shakes your home and sounds like TNT exploding outside your door, it's time to take action. Put an end to this type of behavior and give the police the tools to act on our behalf. Please put a town ordinance in place to prevent this type of reckless behavior from continuing. It's the right thing and just thing to do for the residents of the town and community. Thank you for hearing my concerns about this issue.
Anybody else wants to speak to it?
My name is John Bonakis. I live up at the top of Hoyt Mill Road, 25 Looking Glass Lane, and we hear the same noise, we get the same rattle, the house shakes, and it really startles when we have guests at the house. Unfortunately, we're starting to feel like this is a normal, which I don't want to call it normal event. I couldn't tell you in details on what days they're on or anything, but I can tell you right now, when it goes off, it does feel like dynamite going off in our house. Okay, it shakes the house and scares the guest, or startles them. I shouldn't say scare them. All right, I just wanted to be here to support Phil and what he's saying, and I would have no problem with my name on that list that the police department has.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is James Marty. I am also a resident of Hoyt Mill, 69 Hoyt Mill Road. I'm also on the board of the South Weare Water Association. Another one of our concerns, on top of all the ones you've already heard this evening, is the fragility of our well system at present. These concussions or explosions over the last several months have increased in intensity. I'm very concerned, and all of the property owners up on top of the hill are very concerned with the possibility of these concussions collapsing our wells. Depending on what may occur here this evening, if anything at all, I'm going to have to take this matter up with the DES in Concord to get them involved and see if there's some association, or should we be concerned of these explosions to possibly damaging our well system. Right now, if we have to replace our well, we do not have the means to do it at this time. So we've been going to great lengths to conserve our water, to maintain the system the best of our abilities. What we do not need is someone within the neighborhood finding enjoyment in doing that with disregard for what may occur to his neighbors. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Brad Guimon. I live on 56 White Mill. I'm also a Marine. I'm a hunter, gun owner. I have no problems with shooting whatsoever. I do feel that there is a safe, better place to shoot tannerite if you're going to do it. Maybe a sand pit somewhere. I don't care. But on top of the residence, my house, and I live a ways up on White Mill, to being as far as away from I am from his house, to have my windows rattle so violently that I know damage is happening to my house. 2 explosions ago, the last one I believe he did in front of the police, which was like not even a third of the level of what he normally has been doing lately. We were cleaning my son's room out because he's coming back from the Marine Corps as well. And so we were going through his room, we had the window out, airing his room out. We were done cleaning, we were in the living room, we heard the explosion go off, which was nowhere near as bad, but it was still big. The window slammed closed and now won't even stay open anymore. I don't know if that's coincidence or not, but that was one of my concerns. Sitting on my couch trying to relax in my own house, and explosion goes off and the cats are ripping my lap open every time those things go flying and they go scattering. You got the concern of people with PTSD, which I do not have, but there are people around that do. Heart concerns, people driving by it because it's right on 114. If you're going by and you get a sudden explosion at 7 o'clock at night, you might be jarred out to keep control of your car and cause an accident. And some baby, innocent mom with a baby dies or something. You don't know. Anything could happen with the volume of the explosion. I've got a friend that lives in New Boston who was checking with us to see if we heard the explosion. And she said all over the Dunbarton and New Boston websites, they were talking about this explosion. You shouldn't hear an explosion 3 or 2 towns away. It's just the volume is inconsiderate. The fact that many people have called in and complained, and his inconsiderate nature is just to keep doing it like it doesn't matter and affect anybody. Where's just the common decency of just respecting, everybody else has a right to their freedoms and rights and quiet too. So I wouldn't mind my name being put on this recording. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, one of the issues is there's no town ordinance against it at this point. Tannerite is a legal substance. I don't know why. It's a binary explosive by its own definition. That's something that has to be taken up with the U.S. government under ATF. They're the ones that regulate and control, or the state has certain outlets, and it's controlled by the state police as far as any explosive licensing or what they consider explosive materials. That's statutorily. We don't have a noise ordinance. Disorderly conduct does cover part of it, but not unless it's all up depending on the eye of the beholder, what is reasonable or what is that, and that's up to a court. That's not up to us. If there is an ordinance that we can pass, then, sign a petition, we'll get enough people for a petition, and we can bring it forth to the town vote, but at the next.
How many signatures do you need for this petition?
25.
25.
Just 25?
Yep.
The only thing I would just suggest to you is make sure that they're registered to vote,
They're registered voters.
because you need to all be registered voters, which, after the last election, probably everybody in town is registered, but, you know what I mean? You just need to make sure that they're registered voters.
And the names have to match what's on the voter registry list.
Yeah, so, just for instance, if your real name is Philip and your registered voter is Philip, don't sign it as Phil.
Yeah.
So, it has to be,
It's gonna be
it
more
has,
than one from
it
the
has
same
to match.
residence?
What's that?
Can it be more than one name from the same residence? or
Yeah,
not?
husband and wife, whatever, they're registered voters, but it has to be 25 signatures, and they have to be registered voters in the town of Weare.
Submit it to you again?
And then it's submitted to the town, to the Board of Selectmen.
Complaint again, or is it just the signatures?
That you wish,
So
that
are you
you,
asking them to submit just for an article, or what
for
are
an
you asking?
article, yeah, so, yep. So at that point, you can submit that with what you'd like. It's gonna be, somewhat legal and detailed as to what exactly you're looking for. And then at that point, if it passes at the town meeting, then we can enact on it.
Well, my question is,
Theoretically, whatever you write will be the ordinance.
That's right.
That verbatim, how you write it.
Yep.
We can't change it at that point.
okay, my question is though, the police.
Could you just take the microphone? Nobody at home can hear you. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so my question is, the police have responded to many complaints.
Yep.
Their hands are tied. Like you say, it's a legal binary target explosive. Okay, they can be shipped, ordered online, whatnot.
Yep.
And every time they come to our complaint, our call, they say that, all we can do is tell the man to lower the amounts. So in the manufacturer's recommendations, it says a quarter, a half a pound, at so many yards. That should be enough for a shot indicator on a target. But this individual seems to be using it for an explosive. to celebrate with.
The other part of it is that for the police to do something, at this point where it's a violation or misdemeanor not committed in their presence under statute, they have to have somebody sign the complaint. So in other words, if you want to step up and sign the complaint that this guy's doing that, then they'll be more than happy to run the paperwork through the court, but you'll have to go to court with them and testify to it. That's the state statute at this point. That's the bottom line of it. They cannot go on your complaint, go down there and issue any type of legal action on a misdemeanor or violation unless A, it happens in their presence, or B, somebody stands up and signs the paperwork and signs the complaint, raises their right hand, swears to it, and then shows up in court.
I understand that.
Okay.
During the last explosion, the police were invited to his residence. And at the night all the calls came in on the 3rd of November, he was using up to 2 pounds of that. Now, he said he was gonna tone it down to 1.5 pounds. They went down that night on the 10th. It was still loud, still too much. And now he's saying to the police officers that he would tone it down to even 0.5 pound. So if that is the case, and we don't get disturbed by that, we can live with that without an ordinance, if he's willing to abide by that. But it's not enforceable.
No, that's right.
Has anybody gone and actually spoken to the gentleman that's using this product?
The police have,
Has anybody other than the police?
not that I know of.
Okay.
Somebody, Chief?
We didn't know who it was.
Campground nearby, the owners of the campground.
Owners of the campground.
That I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So, that's my concern right now, and that's, I mean, like I said, I want a resolution. I don't,
Well,
I don't
those are the,
wanna have to go the distance of a legal action.
well, I mean,
But-
this is the resolution if something's gonna be done. If he could say today that he's gonna tone it down. And, he may. But then again, tomorrow, he may decide
Right.
all bets are off and he's gonna crank it up again. So I mean, if you want a resolution, these are the options. And that's the best, I mean, other than that, our hands are tied, like the police's are, so.
Really?
But, again, you brought it forth and it's on the record, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Anybody else get anything on it? Okay, same page. Yep. Okay, thank you very much. Chief, anything?
Just on that, we did run the disorderly conduct by our prosecutor. The prosecutor said we would need 3 people complaining before we would go get a warrant for that, instead of just 1, because it's based on reasonable. If you have 3 people saying it's unreasonable, that would help in
Well, at
court.
least one's a start, so,
Sure, yeah, absolutely. That was the only difference.
okay.
And, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chief. We're a little bit ahead of the time for our public hearing.
You want to just go public comment first?
I say do public
Yeah,
comment.
we'll do public comment. Okay, next item will be public.
Actually, hang on.
Huh?
Doug,
Doug's here.
yeah, so Doug had something in regards to, I had told him to come in case we had an extra time.
Okay, we've got the extra
For the
time, so
cable- For the cable.
Doug, I guess you have the floor and for the cable committee.
I guess last week you looked at the proposal and said we needed a second, it couldn't be sole source. Well, I had thought of that, I hadn't thought about the legal requirement, but I had wondered about the prices these people quoted. So I had gone online and looked at each of the items.
Looks like you get stuck in the rain a little bit.
I dropped them in the parking lot. Basically, it turns out in almost all but one case, I believe, AV Access is actually charging less than anywhere I could find it online.
Now, they're the contractor for the school. This is basically, we're piggybacking on what the school's
They've done
doing.
things for the school, and if, yes.
So I think as far as sole sourcing, it's not us individually, we're piggybacking on to what the school's doing. That's the way I understood it, or? The school's the one that's initiating this, the middle school, but we're piggybacking onto their system to,
Well, okay.
Doug, you can take this off the top.
yeah, if it makes it easier.
my placebo prophylactic. Anyway, in the middle school, they have 2 carts. One of them was to push into the cafeteria to use for events. And it turns out at this point, the only event it gets used for is the town meeting once a year. Somebody decided that, they wanted to televise school board meetings from the library, and so somebody sold them another cart, which they use in the library for school board meetings. They're different, but now the school board would like to live stream their meetings,
Right.
as well as record them for YouTube. So the equipment on both of those carts, by the way, is town property, because it's for the cable TV,
Yep.
and so it's town property, not school property, which
Okay.
is how we get involved with the school. So originally, the school had asked AV Access what was required to live stream. They came up with $3,000 plus. And I looked at it and said, this is kind of stupid. You still have this ancient, archaic equipment and the new stuff. Now you have to use them both. You have to push 2 things into the library to have a school board meeting. If we consolidate, update it, we've got one which they can use for town meetings or anything else anywhere in the school. The old system used something called iNet, which is image network, which is totally obsolete. Now everything's done over the internet. So instead of all this equipment, you get this little simple box. You can plug it in anywhere with a good internet connection, which means they could use it anywhere in the school. So I thought it was well worth the extra price. And it'll replace both of the carts.
Doug, did anything that they have over there as far as cable equipment that would satisfy their meetings being televised, recorded, or either side?
They all,
Is it cable? Is it town owned, or is any of it school owned?
no, it's all town owned.
Okay.
All the microphones on the table when they have the meeting, the cart of equipment, it's all town owned because it's for cable.
Okay. So I don't see the school versus town being an issue because we've been
Nope.
buying it all along.
So we're buying it. So.
And to follow up, I mean, I was the one that asked about the sole source. And I mean, obviously you've provided more than enough information. Usually when it's over, what is it, $2,500 now?
$2,500.
$2,500, we ask for 3, not even proposals, just quotes, exactly the way you did it right here. And just 3, that's all we asked for.
Yeah.
So,
I guess.
and I don't think that we're far off.
No, so I think at that point,
Move to accept the bid from Access, what was it, AV Access?
Access AV.
Access AV.
Yeah, they're
What
gonna,
was the number again, 60?
what was the total number for was?
50, you took it home with you.
I didn't bring that, I
price
did,
for the
but
quote
it
from
fell in
last
the
week.
parking lot, and
Oh.
it's so wet that
Okay,
Yeah.
I
so
threw
we'll-
it out.
For the price for the quote
Quote that
from
you
last
brought in
week,
earlier,
from last
so.
meeting.
It's definitely under $6,000.
and
It's
I'll
5
second,
something.
I'll second it, so.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vaya con Dios, amigo. You've
Thank
got
you,
it.
guys.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, now we'll do public comment.
Once, twice sold? Nice.
Yeah, nothing going once, twice, 3 times? Okay, nothing for public comment. No department head or committee items.
Manifest? Yeah, right there.
We have the manifest, we'll do that, and then by that time, it'll probably be ready for us to start.
That's what I'm thinking.
Manifest, it's to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated December 3rd, 2020, as included in the following manifest. Payroll manifest for $66,633.87. Accounts payable manifest for $4,633.87. $658.72 for a total of $71,292.59. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeez, I had to look
4 or
at,
5?
Aye. That's
I
it.
had to look at that second number. That was the smallest one I've seen in a long time.
It was a short week.
Short week. Okay.
Short week.
Short week, no minutes, those will be tabled. Manifest is done.
Somebody has my agenda. What else?
I'd say we just wait till 7 now.
I could talk about some health department head things.
Yeah,
I could give updates that you guys
Yeah,
probably
you
haven't
might,
heard
just
about.
go ahead.
yeah, we might as well just, we're close enough. We'll start the public hearing. We're gonna have a public hearing, and this is the reconvened public hearing. It was tabled from July 27th to hear public comment and testimony regarding the increasing the non-resident parking fees from $20 to $40 per day and increasing the non-resident boat fees from $45 to $50 at Chase Park.
I'll talk slow.
Janine, you're gonna step up first. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Janine Lynch, Chairman of Board of Parks and Recs Commission. And as Chairman Meany stated, we're here tonight. The Park and Rec Commission is bringing before the Board of Selectmen a proposed increase for non-residents for Chase Park entrance from $20 per car per day to $40 per car. And the non-resident boat access would be from $45 per boat to $50 per boat. And you can see I did the current residents, current fees first, and then the proposed fees second in the packet. The main reason we're bringing this is we've had a lot of feedback from residents in town about being turned away from the park for capacity. Park fills up capacity pretty early and residents are being turned away. And it's a hardship. They're already paying out of their taxes. We fund the park out of our taxes solely at this point, and then to be turned away. So we're hoping this would alleviate some of that problem and bring up be able to increase the numbers of the resident season passes. You can see I attached the wonderfully provided by me tallies for the past 4 years, and you can see that resident season passes, they were climbing, let's see, 2019 they were up higher, and then 2020 they're at 470. They're almost 40 less than non-residents cars, 40 more, apologize. So there were a lot fewer residents. I don't know if they weren't coming because they continued to get turned away, or if they, never got the opportunity to come. So that's the main reason why we're bringing it up, is we just continue to hear feedback, and not just feedback, but I mean, we have gate attendants there that are turning people away because we're at capacity. So it had been brought up at the last meeting about weekdays versus weekends, and we broke down for a couple weeks. I included that sheet after the tallies. And for example, you can see on the few weeks that we looked at, even Thursdays and Sundays were within 10 cars of how many non-residents and residents were coming in. So weekday versus weekend, the weather affects it more than what day of the week it is during the summer. So it's really hard to propose one fee during the week, one fee during the weekend, especially even to the staff, keeping track, having more price lists at the booth and everything. So we're just hoping across the board, 7 days a week, just keeping it at the same price. Any questions? Too much paperwork? Sorry. You can ignore the budget at the end until later, I just didn't want to hand out more papers. We did want to do 50, but we kind of, we're knocking it down to 40 a little more, just to let you know. That's where the the board had first been at.
But is there any way of tracking, somebody buys a season ticket, they get waived through, so do you keep track of them?
So starting next year, we're definitely going to implement daily tallies, and so every time that resident comes through, we're gonna
So you
count.
could have gotten some that got season passes and waived through on a particular day that you don't really know.
Right, one season pass doesn't mean they entered the park one time. That's correct, right? They could have come 10 times, they could have come just one time. And we'd never really collected that information before, but this year we're gonna have a much more in detail. We're gonna put the weather down, and we're gonna see, you know, which residents are coming and how often and things like that, so.
Okay.
Anybody on the board?
Anybody from the public?
Anybody from the public would like to speak to it? Okay. Nobody wants to speak to it, so I'll close the public hearing part of it. What's the board think?
I'm for it.
Ricky?
I mean, monetarily, looking at the years past, at the totals, it looks like the non-residents have paid their fair share, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just, again, quick addition, it's, again, every year, they've paid well more than the residents.
Well, they should get charged more, too.
Oh, that's true, I'm not saying you can't, but, you know, year after year, it shows that they've paid more. And definitely, email chart, definitely shows that, you know, half on the weekends, or 2/3 are non-resident.
Those will be passes, yeah, right.
Right,
Yep.
half to 2/3, those are the residents, non-residents compared to,
Yep.
residents. I mean, I like the way it's been cleaned up for non-residents, I think that's much
Yep.
better. Less, like
Yeah.
Janine said, less to keep track of, that's for sure.
Right.
But,
Also, I think we were looking at it too, one way to look at it price-wise. 6 people in a car and you go to, just down the street, you go to Clough, and we're still cheaper. Once you get that car full, which we're seeing a lot of car full, and we really didn't want to have to do a head count, then you start having people ducking under the seats, hiding under blankets, that kind of stuff. So we just, you know, we just wanted to just keep it. There's more affordable places in town if you're a whole car full and they got a lot more room and that kind of thing too, so.
Gary?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
John? Fine with as far as what, the increase?
Accept a motion.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the proposed price increases that Park has brought before us, with an effective date of, what do we think we're opening up?
We usually open
The
up Memorial Day at
weekend
21.
before Memorial Day weekend,
Weekend before.
That's the first, an opening day.
as soon as the
2020.
water is high enough.
Opening day of 2021?
Yep.
Have a second? All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Abstain?
staying.
Okay. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Seeing as how she's up, do we want to do the budget while she's right here?
Well,
That's what the remaining
we've got other
budgets
ones on their forest fire budgets.
Again?
The budgets that you have attached, that's
What?
that's what's remaining, right? That's not actually proposed.
That's not your
No,
fault.
it's not proposed. We do not have anything written formally proposed. We're really
All right.
only,
Okay, when are we gonna see that?
we're only looking at one, well, as a new person on the board talking about budgets, still quite the
We've
learning
kinda
curve
filled it
here.
out, haven't we?
What's that?
Beth and I kinda took the roll and filled it out.
You've already got it filled out?
Right,
Okay.
because we were supposed to have them back by October.
Oh, okay, so I
Sorry.
guess that's gonna be on
I
for the
missed that
smaller
memo.
budget presentations later on, so,
I'll definitely answer any questions, though, I mean, that's fine.
okay. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Next year, I'll get a notice out to myself in September.
Notice to myself.
Before, John, you forwarded an email.
I did.
Actually, I got it like 3 times, because I got it from clerk, I got it from somebody
Oh,
else.
boat ramp?
On the boat ramp.
Yeah, everybody got that from that.
We
gentleman.
haven't met yet to talk about it,
Oh,
but he's not the only person that's felt that way.
okay.
So I'd say
So
wait.
we have to kind
Okay.
of look into it.
Sure.
But I mean, as far as other updates with the park, with what's going on with Parks and Recs is, we had a really good pumpkin hunting success. Higher demand for pumpkins for next year. The kids and the adults like that. We had them around town, and we had a little bit of extra candy left over, which brought to the fire department because they had their drive-through trick or treat. And in lieu of the seniors being able to get together and usually have their annual functions, we voted to do like a winter soup basket. So we're gonna be able to bring gift baskets to each of the Weare seniorites that are part of the members to just have a nice winter soup basket, because they're not going to restaurants and getting together this year at all. And we had some picnic tables donated from an Eagle Scout, Chris Seaver. We were able to bring 1 to every park. He was able to bring 1 to every park, if 2, I think, to Chase and Bolton, which are beautiful. And he wrote inside of them that he donated them. And we're on track for CIP for next year for the tennis courts. We got to do a little talking to the highway department about seeing if we can collaborate to keep some costs down. And we're looking really deep into the skate park, maybe being able to just fix 1 feature a year, maybe 1 or 2, just slowly build it back up to something usable and enjoyable.
And safe.
Baby steps. Safe. Yes.
Okay.
That's all the news
Do
from
you want
park.
to mention our hope for our employees?
Well, yes, that's something we'll have to talk about, yes. So as far as the budget goes, we had talked in past meetings when I've been up here before about issues we've had at Chase Park. And so, we're hoping to look into, employee wages being a little bit higher. So that's something we'll bring forward when the time is right.
Okay.
They certainly
Deserve it.
did a great job this year. They really got that place looking really good. We had a lot of compliments, and
They did do a good job, so.
it'd be nice to bring their.
Working hard, cleaning it up.
They really were. Really, really, really proud of them.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The next one is the forest fire budget presentation by Bob Richards, Deputy Chief and Ward.
I guess to start off with, I've got questions, more than anything. The numbers that are there, are those the numbers, the full numbers, or those are the half numbers with the 50% cost share that's sent back from the state? Or do we?
Oh, yeah. Is that in the fire budget?
My stuff upstairs.
I don't have a handout for this.
I don't have a handout.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one that says 17 on it, and I don't think it's changed, so.
I know it hadn't changed
I'm
in
going
years
with that.
past. From, Ray hadn't changed it much,
Yeah.
I think we've seen it in the past, so.
What you're probably looking at, I'm sure, is the full,
Is the full amount?
right, because typically, we don't know if or when there's a forest fire, and if or when there is, we do get reimbursed for it. So if we had 6 forest fires, we'd still have to do it.
Right.
It's just, it's a budget number that we kind of have left there long, and
Yeah.
Ray has left it alone for years.
Yep.
While we're waiting on Beth, would you object to me asking a question of the chief?
No, go ahead.
Sir, how did the first net demo go? Did you guys get a chance to use it at all, and what are your thoughts?
I had the phone, for a couple of days, and then I gave it to Bob. So
Okay.
I don't even know where it is at this point.
Okay.
It's upstairs, ready to be shipped back.
Okay.
What was did you notice anything good
I
or
went
bad?
around, I looked at I looked at it where the service was, and everywhere that we knew where we had bad service, that's, it's pretty much, like the Reservoir Drive.
Yep.
I didn't have anybody else's number, so I didn't call anybody, but I was just looking at the service itself.
Yeah, I think that the total budget, according to the default and the one on the budget sheet we got, is 4827. That's what it is for forest.
Yeah, that's the number Beth gave me.
It's still the same number.
Is that from last year or this year?
It's last year's and this year's proposal.
Yeah, same thing.
I knew I saw it somewhere. So you don't foresee any changes in that, then?
Well, other than a little bonus for me, that's all. And I would like to add an equipment line so that we don't get the fire department equipment confused with the forestry equipment. One of the things that we really should do in the very near future is replace the pump, one of our pumps, the high-pressure pump. We discovered at Clough that the pump that we have on the forestry itself wouldn't even pump the water to the top of the fire. So there was some talk down there.
Thank you. Was this the hard mount or the floating pump?
No, the hard mount pump.
Hard mount pump.
So we got a price for that. My thought would be to the next round of the grant money for forestry is to try to get it with the 50% cost share with the state.
When would that be coming, do you know?
I believe you have to have them in by August.
So it wouldn't be till this coming August?
This coming August, yeah.
What's something like that, what's about?
It's about $4,000.
Oh, $4,000, so
Yeah.
they'd pay.
They would pay half of it, yeah.
50/50, okay.
Yeah, so. Let me back up just a little bit. Ray was the forest fire warden for years and years and years and years and years. I don't know if you guys could put some sort of something together for him, a letter of thanks or whatever, because he's, you guys got a good deal, so. I'm gonna try to get something through the state as well, and maybe we can work together and have it some night, get him down here or whatever. Similar to we did with Leon, that.
Yep. I think
So I'll work with the state guys on that, and, so I don't know how you wanna do that equipment line. I'd like to see an equipment line, to at least try to replace that pump. And I think all the other ones the numbers will be fine. I mean, we've been going for years like that. The other thing was, I don't know how you want to pay me. Since September, I guess, or August, whenever Ray said that I'm not gonna do this anymore, most of my pay, I've been putting a timesheet in to fire. I don't know how that's getting paid. I write forestry time on it. Not sure how that did it make it over here on the forestry time? Okay,
probably makes it under fire time then.
It might be off parking, chief.
Yep.
Well, what we should do is try to figure out, so that we can submit a bill for 50% cost share.
Oh, okay.
So that any of those slips that say forestry time on them should be, especially when the dry times, and when they were having us patrol, we actually got an email from them, don't forget you get 50% of cost share back.
So let me ask you this, Chief. Would it be prudent to record better for a year, see what that number is, and then go and put a different line on there for the next year, rather than just shooting a number from the hip and saying, let's put X on here for a price and hope that's close, or?
I think my sit-down administration time, I think 3 hours a week is pretty fair. Maybe a little bit more in the summertime, maybe a little bit less in the wintertime, but you still have to do stuff in the wintertime. I mean, you have the logging stuff that Ray never did.
Yeah, because you submit all the permits onto the online base now, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to think whether, I got 896 permits out there and probably got 50 or less of manually written permits. It's working. We haven't had any fires caused by a permit on a bad day. The state shuts them off so that they don't, but the online permit system it's great to get the permit, and it's great to, you can get a seasonal permit. Still, somebody needs to go out there, if you're brand spanking new, to go out there and look at the pit to make sure it's, meets the requirements of that permit. So there's time involved in that, and also to search to see if somebody has a permit. The online permit system is awful for that. You can't, unless you have the date of the person who bought the permit. So what I've been doing is entering them all into a database where I can sort the street number, so I can look quickly to see if somebody's got a permit. When you get a call, sometimes they'll just call me and say, "Hey, does Sam have a permit?" And I go, "I don't know. I'd have to look." It's almost impossible to look it up on the online quick enough so you don't have to run out there. So I guess, I work for you, so I guess just.
I think we could,
There's a lot of sit-down time, keeping up to date with the, the towers, and keeping up to date with the, the ranges, and, keeping in contact with those guys to see what's going on out there.
How many hours a week are you gonna estimate that you think you're gonna be?
You just said 3.
I think 3 hours
I thought it was
is
just for the
fair.
database. That's for the sit-down. What about everything else?
Well, if they want you to go out and do patrol, I was doing a couple hours a night, Fridays and Saturdays when you typically would have a problem. There is issues in East Weare that's got a little bit out of control again. That's gonna require some attention. Going back to the Punky days, he had it pretty well under control down there. And it's, over a period of time, there's a whole different group of people in there down there. You can go down there now and probably find 10 fire pits that nobody really looks at. And the patrol is a lot easier than going out there and spending, 8 hours at a fire. Go out there and, make sure the fire's out. Either write them a warning or, pick them loose if they look really honest and that's one thing that I've been doing recently is, they're doing everything right, but they don't have the permit. I'm going, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to get a warning? Do you want to, just go online and buy the permit? If they're not doing the right thing, then obviously they get a warning and they will have to deal with the consequences.
Now, 3 hours at your fire wage, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you do 3 hours a week at your fire wage, we do have a line that says wages hourly, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at,
whether or not we should
and if
bump.
it's reimbursable, 50%.
50%, yeah.
Is it for any forest fire activity, or is it only during a brush fire?
It's for any.
So in any activity, it's reimbursed 50%?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
It's a state.
Even when we had the Clough fire, we had some equipment, hose burn up. That was all 50% cost share.
Okay.
So.
I would just like to
I
see,
could bump up the
Beth just
wage.
pays me at the end of the month, whatever. That way I don't have to, and then if I'm out doing something, that would be above and beyond that. Ricky
you're
gets,
looking at more
gets
of
the
a
emails, when it's that fire season, and, I try to get the email out in the morning.
I'm on the state text message too, so I see it.
Yeah, but I always try to put a little thing in there, hey, expect high winds, be prepared, don't,
Well, probably bump up that budget item.
Would it be that line, or would we make a new line?
I think it would come
A
under
new line for
wages.
tracking purposes is what I'm thinking. Just because, if he was on location running an incident,
that would be wages.
that would be wages. but-
Unless you make it 390A.
How did you pay Ray? How was Ray paid? Don't ask.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He
He
wasn't.
got 50 cents.
Well,
a
you can
permit.
see right here in 2000,
He get 50 cents, 50 cents a
he
minute.
got $685 coming to the station 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's, I can't do that.
For, anywhere from what, 2 to
Yeah,
6
an hour,
hours.
You know, hour and a half, you know.
Sometimes he's there for longer than
Sure,
that.
yeah, if somebody called and says, hey, I'm gonna be a little late, can you stay? He would stay till they came, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to have a permit if it's raining out to burn brush.
You do need a permit. Anytime you
snow.
kindle a fire outside, you need a permit,
What about
anytime.
snow?
When snow is on the ground,
No permit.
there's no permit, but it's the same rules. 5 inches material or under, 50 feet from your structure. The only thing is, if you burn something that you're not supposed to, it's an air resources regulation. It's not a forestry regulation. So it's a different group of
Just
people.
talking brush, you know, branches from
Yep,
trees.
yep, yep. As long as you have snow on the ground, you can burn it. Legally, legal material.
Right.
It's not the time to get
I
rid
mean, you
of
can't burn tires?
No,
No tires.
no. And like I said, we got 896 permits out there right now, so it's, you know, it's a lot of permits. Keep track of. And,
I don't know if you start another line, Beth,
Yeah, I would rather start the stipend line.
such
Yeah,
as,
that's what I was
put another
thinking,
like
yeah.
390A or something
Yeah.
like that, right
Yeah,
under it?
and then we
Okay,
can track it.
okay.
And
John, how do you
get-
feel?
Sounds reasonable to me, I have no
Yeah.
objections.
John, Sherry?
Sounds
I
good.
have no objection. The only thing I just, obviously y'all can work together with your rate and the 3 hours a week and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's taxes and stuff like that go along with it, so you guys can figure all that out. And-
Yeah, well, I left those lines, I don't.
And,
that's-
Yeah, it's way above my pay grade.
Yeah, that's bad.
All of us.
Yeah. And then that equipment line.
Yeah, there's no equipment line now at all, so.
Right. I guess my question is, Chief, is that unit, the forestry unit was purchased with the special revenue fund.
Yes,
And all the equipment on it that was transferable from the other unit was also included in that special revenue fund money
yeah,
to transfer it over. So to me, shouldn't that purchase be made for the pump out of that special revenue fund as it's an apparatus? If it was the floating pump, it might be to me a little different, but where that's hard mounted to the unit, I guess that's my
Yeah, well,
line in the sand. I question. That's all.
we also have to remember that the unit that was put on that truck was already here.
Yes. Yes.
So
But-
that was capital reserve from,
Whenever the
Whenever, yeah.
whenever the
But it
utility
wasn't
was
the
put
revenue
together,
fund.
right?
Yeah.
But that whole skid unit assembly was purchased with the special revenue fund.
no, that was purchased with capital reserve fund. We'd have to go back and look, but
Oh, capital, yes, because that was before we did the equipment purchases out of that special
Right.
revenue fund.
Yeah.
So that was probably an actual warrant article then.
Pens out of ink.
it was,
What's that? Oh,
The pen's out of ink.
I think if you, and I'm kinda old, so I lose memory, but when we bought engine 5, that was when I was chief.
Yep.
We saved money there. When we bought the tanker, that was capital reserve money, we saved money there, and there was enough money in the capital reserve fund to do the forestry unit, once the old forestry unit went
Okay, yep,
south. So it was a warrant article, I'm sure, but it was out of the capital reserve fund money that was, I don't think we even had to raise any money, it was already
already
it
there.
was apparatus money,
Okay.
that was there, and I mean, we could go back and look, but I don't.
So I guess that was my question was, should the 50% of that pump come from the special revenue fund, because that's now the funding method, and then the other 50% be done by the state, or should it be line itemed by taxation?
I think it should be in here, because I'm not sure whether we maybe make that pump stand alone, so you can leave it somewhere, keep the one that we got on it, and if we have to do what we did down there, is we would just take the suction and put it into it on the ground. Or
So it'd be like a portable rather than a,
portable, but you can also use it through the suction off the tank.
Wouldn't it also, I mean, having a line item just for equipment, wouldn't that also give you the advantage of tracking any other equipment, like your hand tools and so forth, that you have to
Yeah,
replace,
it would have been,
helmets?
it would have been a little cleaner, to do it, like when we had all that equipment down at Clough, that, you know, the hose and stuff that we had burned up, nozzles we burned up. If it was forestry, we could just keep it under that, and I think it would be cleaner that way.
I think you'd be right to keep a line item that would be just an equipment line item, like I said, whether it be a helmet, a shirt,
Yeah.
you know, or any of that stuff that you usually get from the state or get money back from the state on it, then.
Yeah.
How much would you want to see in that line?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see it get that pump this year, so. if we could do-
Which is that?
It was about $4,000.
So if you work with Beth and put the line item in there for equipment, and modify your budget, and put $4,000 in there. on
Why don't you
equipment.
guys do it now so we can finish?
Yeah, then we can finish it. Beth, you're the financial wizard.
So it'll just be equipment line, it'll be after the travel mileage.
Yeah, mileage can.
So it'll
stay
be
the
what,
same.
Yeah,
394A?
for this purpose.
Okay.
I'll get you the exact account number later.
Okay.
Just put the
Going
2,000
back-
in, and then we'll put the 2,000 on the revenue side.
Yeah, when that comes back, then we can, yeah, so 4,000,
Well, you'd be able to see the revenue from the labor and all of that stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah, it's already on the revenue side.
yeah.
So just for my clarification, line 390, wages, are we renaming that? Or are we adding another line and
Another
adding,
line.
adding another
Talk about
dollar?
390A.
Okay,
Yeah, it'd be
now, are we
additional line.
Are we adding additional money to that?
No.
So we're moving all 3,600 out of 390?
No, it'd be additional. It'd be additional.
What is that number gonna be?
It's gonna be, line, 429-910-150A.
No, I understand.
No.
What's the dollar value gonna be?
Whatever it is, 3 hours, 52 weeks, his rate.
So
And then there'll be a couple more,
it's gonna be another $3,600.
probably,
Around that.
around that. But then you're gonna have to put on the FICA and all that, and that's the
That, I
way
just
above
wanted
my pay grade.
clarification, so it's gonna be, there's gonna be two lines, one of 36, if approved, $3,600 under hourly and additional 36 for him.
Yes.
Okay,
So
thank you.
it'd probably be say, because of all the other stuff, about an $8,000 increase between the both lines, roughly.
Roughly.
Okay, but now let's have this conversation, seriously, are you doing it like January 1st, when are you doing this? And also, if you put it in proposed, it's not in default.
Right.
So what happens if you get default?
It would have to, pump would have to come out of the revenue.
No, I'm talking about,
No, no,
I'm
no.
more-
I'm
I'm
talking about
focusing on
wages.
paying.
More so wages than the
Wages.
pump. Yeah, the equipment it is what it is, but.
I mean, you can build your budget proposed however you'd like.
Right.
Keep in mind, though, it doesn't go to default.
Yeah, because the
Well-
default didn't have it included.
At that point, I think we would just run it the way we have been, which may not be correct, which I don't disagree with. Run it the way it has been, and then we can also keep track of it, so you can get a live number at the end of the year as well, and say, yes, there was this many hours spent, and that's what we need to put on the proposed.
So you're saying running it with the forestry tag on the timesheet, but through the fire department payroll?
The way it's kind of always been.
So, I mean, if we put those two lines in there, roughly
I just want
4,000.
everybody to be upfront here. Let's,
$4,000 in each line between additional wages for the year.
And
That
equipment.
includes, and then the equipment, you're looking
Another
at,
4,000.
yeah, so you're looking at 12, total
Yeah, just shy of 13.
proposed budget is $12,827.
Right, right. I am for
Yeah, I mean,
the changes. I'm 100% for it,
I
but.
just wanna be clear so we don't have any questions in the future. That's the only thing
Right,
I'm.
but as we back up, if, like Naomi says, if it's a default budget this year, what are we gonna do?
Take it out of that.
what's that?
You have to take it out of the fire department line, right?
Which I think that's where it's kind of been coming out of,
Have been coming
all,
out of the-
Kinda.
for the last couple of years, as you've been putting them into the online database.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I've been doing that when I was on shift, which really isn't fair either.
right. So, but I think that's about the only workarounds that we have.
Yep.
I don't know any others.
Any thoughts, Beth?
Well, if we're gonna track it and we're gonna get reimbursed by the state, I'd probably just overexpend that wage line.
Overexpend it?
And then bottom line it.
And then get the money
Okay.
back from the
And
state.
then
Okay.
that, we just have to.
And
make
that
sure
way if
that
it
the
doesn't-
fire is under budget by that amount to cover whatever this budget's
Okay.
gonna be over.
Okay.
Okay. That could work. And that way there at least is
At
tracked.
least for
and-
this time.
Yeah, and we'd be in the negative, but,
And then maybe if it passes,
For tracking purposes.
right, tracking
tracking
purposes, yeah.
purposes. Yeah, and if the proposed budget passes, then, okay, it's a
Then
moot.
it's a moot point, but
That's a moot
still, you
point,
have to
but
plan,
hopefully-
you have
We
to
have to plan for the
A and
worst,
plan B.
right.
So,
Okay.
line 394A is gonna be the equipment line?
Yes.
Okay, is that $4,000 gonna be coming out of the fire department budget then instead?
No.
Or
No.
this is completely in addition to everything else?
This is separate. Fire, the forestry is just a separate item
Okay.
altogether.
Because I believe the chief said that in the past, everything was just purchased out of the fire department.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's, we never
But
tried.
that's no longer the funding method.
Yeah.
That's because that was a capital reserve fund, like you said. That was before they changed it over, so equipment could be purchased from the special revenue fund.
And then the revenue of it, on the proposed would be 390A for the forest fire warden's wages. Instead of 390, it'd be 390A would be, if it goes through on the proposed, so.
So what is it gonna look like? It's just gonna have a zero number there and just expend it?
Proposed will be, yeah,
Forward.
proposed will be the number, and default will be 0. But the line will be created. Am I wrong in saying that?
Some things that I wanna do when spring rolls around is I wanna post all those, the town property with, no fires, no whatever. Get out there and do some of that stuff. You know, just keep doing the patrol. We had good luck this summer, not having any fires that
Got out of hand.
got out of hand, yeah, so. If you want anything different than that, let me know, and, we'll just keep plugging forward. Okay,
Okay, Bobby,
all right, thanks a lot.
thank you.
We'll catch you sometime.
I'll see you early in the
Give me
morning.
a call.
I'll see you early in the morning.
Not a fire call, though. No fire call.
No call.
No calls.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Okay, next item would be the library budget. Oh, I meant to ask, is anything from, while we're waiting, is there anything from the budget committee and questions on that? Or the finance committee? Tom? Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Well, great minds think alike.
We've worked together a little while.
Yeah, yeah, I think we all have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On the back, Beth, I'm not sure if you ended up, what was on the back, or the, payroll detail, anyway, it's on the back, the payroll details on the back, so it's two-sided. Yeah. Okay, well, I have a announcement to make, because everyone is very anxious, I'm sure, to know what is the name of our new library mascot. We have an owl that is behind the circulation desk. He was donated by the Weare Conservation Commission, not a live owl, he was formerly living, but, and so we had about 30 entries as for name suggestions, and about 47 people voted on those name suggestions. Fourth place is Barry the Bard. Third place was Owlie. Second place was Hootie and the Molefish. And first place was Merlin. So Merlin's the name of our new library mascot. So congratulations to Rachel Burby, who came up with that suggestion. So, and secondly, I'd also like to thank Brenda for one, she understood that I was going to be coming here, and within a month of taking this position, I was going to have to know this budget. And so she helped me with that. She came prepared for that contingency. And I'd also like to thank Beth. I've spent several hours with her going through it, just trying to make sense of it all. And also with Thelma Tracy, who was our interim director. She's our assistant director, and she did a really good job keeping the library running through this difficult year. And she helped me out with QuickBooks, which is more complex than I could have ever imagined. So I appreciate Thelma's help with that. All right, and third, I would like to wish everybody here a happy Cyber Monday. Yeah, okay. Are you guys happy about Cyber Monday? No. Okay. Seriously though, All right, I got a speech here. 6 minutes. Are you willing? You want to hear it? Okay. Seriously, though, if I asked each of you to think of a few of the best moments of your life, so think about it. Think of the best moments of your life. I'm not going to give you 2 minutes like what Mr. Rogers does. No. Think right now. How many would you say of those best moments have occurred in front of a screen? Any of them? Okay. Yes, right. Yeah. See, nobody's got one. Okay.
Not many.
Yeah. So, but
You're dealing with an older crowd.
well, yeah, but even well, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I guess I did beat Mario Rabbids last week. That was pretty awesome. Okay. Unfortunately, however, if Zoom meetings, social media, and Netflix binges were not already an integral part of your home life, that is in 2019 and 2020, they're much more likely to be so. It's no surprise then, during this year pandemic, with all the hours we've collectively stared at our electronic devices, that the CDC has reported a tripling of the reports of depression and anxiety. So why is this? What do you think? I mean, I guess there's lots of theories, but I think it's because humans, we have a natural proclivity. Let me take off this mask, by the way. A natural proclivity to interact, to cohabitate and collaborate with other humans. So here is a quote that I really like. It's from David Lanks. He is a librarian. He said, bad libraries build collections, good libraries build services, and great libraries build communities. I believe that for our community, the Weare Public Library is a perfect organization to facilitate this ever-increasing need for interaction and companionship. Things are different now, but we're still open. Well, that is by appointment, but we are still here for you, and we're planning for a brighter 2021. Much like Parks and Recreation, the library and its dedicated staff has the ability to provide what I like to call QAEs. QAEs, that stands for Quality Analog Experiences. Between the years of 2016 and 2019, under the leadership of Michael Sullivan, our library saw not only a 13% increase in the use of our materials, the majority of which of those were books, but a 127% increase in attendance of in-person events. Unfortunately, due to this unforeseen pandemic, this year our program attendance has dropped. In order to regain this momentum that was built during the latter half of this last decade, in 2021, I would like to see an increase in the quantity and quality of our in-person events. We will accomplish this while sticking to our regular operations budget. That number, which is $40,695, has not seen an increase in several years. And more than half of that amount is spent not on books or materials, but rather on operational overhead, which is not easy to stretch considering the age of our building. Program funding, however, requires much more than the purchasing of supplies. It requires an even greater increase in the time and focus of our staff. I estimate that at least half of our future events will be targeted at children. So that's at least about 4 children's programs a week. And therefore, they will be planned and conducted by our children's librarian, Karen Metcalf. During the majority of our opening hours, however, Karen is tasked with watching the children's desk, along with the entire portion of our collection that is housed on the lower floor. Several years ago, for Karen, this was not as much of a struggle. While she was conducting these events, she had a part-time assistant to manage the collection. 4 years ago, however, this part-timer left, and this position has not been refilled. Since then, Karen has increased her programming output, but for the most part, she has done this alone without assistance. This is why I propose in the line item 589, that number, it's under library hourly wages, an increase of $8,480. This is including bumping Karen to full-time from part-time and also adding 9 hours of wages for a part-time children's position. This is in accordance with the warrant article which was passed on March 20, 2020, which states that the town shall raise and appropriate the sum of
and the cost of adding part-time staff hours at the library in order to meet the increased demand for library services. With this in mind, I will repeat the quote. Bad libraries build collections, good libraries build services, and great libraries build communities. In just under a month, from what I've witnessed from Thelma and Aristine and Dina and Roberta and Patricia and Karen, is an unwavering desire to make our collection and our services the best that they can be. Give us the support, and I have no doubt that we will go even further. What am I talking about? I'm talking about those QAEs, which stands for, are you paying attention? Quality Analog Experiences. I guess it's a mouthful. Because together, we will build upon the community of Weare. All right, so any questions? So yeah, on this side, this is the payroll, which Beth helped me out with tremendously, and this on this side is our payroll's at the top. Everything else is our operations budget.
The back is the complete budget of the library, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, because that the amount of operations that's so actually I guess it is kind of because the amount of operations, which is the 40,695, that is on line 594.
Yep.
Right. So.
Okay.
And the rest of the increases really were to do with the warrant article.
Warrant articles.
Yep.
Right.
So in all actuality, the 2021 default and proposed are only $20 difference.
Yep.
About that.
About that, yeah.
$19.
Yeah, $19 difference.
Yep, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking at it, I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm looking, yep,
Yep.
default,
Yeah,
but
I know.
proposed, yep. all
I
right.
just had to look at that twice.
Yep. So,
The building maintenance line budget for this year, 2020, was $7,200, a round number.
Right.
You're proposing to drop it down to $4,000 instead.
Right. That is just based, I'm not exactly sure why that was why we budgeted that much. Now, I understand that, like I said, it is an older building. We are, like, for example, later this month, or actually next month, we are going to paint the walls, and we are actually adding additional shelving. The funds for that were taken out of the fact that we were short a position because I wasn't here. So, so we're going to take care of that maintenance, and so, as you can see, the year to date, we've spent about $3,000. So I'm just going to keep it hopefully at $4,000. But we might have to, if something happens, take money from somewhere else.
So, can you tell me why approved budget was $7,200?
Not without looking. I could find that, not tonight.
I'm just curious if there's something specific that Mr. Sullivan had anticipated that didn't
Brenda
happen.
can answer that from the back.
Perfect.
Part of the reason with the building maintenance is that it's going to go down.
Brenda?
Yep.
Oh,
Inquiring minds would love to hear that too,
Play.
on the interweb.
Oh, okay. Part of the reason that the building maintenance is going to go down is, if you remember, I came here earlier this year and we discussed the lawn services and snow.
Right.
And, Naomi explained to us that, we had to keep the lawn services in there because of contract. But we're hoping to piggyback on you guys this year for snow. And so that did decrease our fees just a little bit. The other part of building maintenance, it's just general things, like getting the furnaces
service.
ongoing, serviced.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just stuff like that. And that's why I don't know why Mike had in for $7,200.
Mm-hmm.
I really can't answer that. But I do know that our costs will go down this year. And he probably had something in mind. If I went back through old notes, I could figure it out, but.
Might have been the air conditioning.
Yeah, and the air conditioning, as you know, is a mess in the building.
That's kind of where I'm thinking. Why don't we leave it at the 7213, and we can do the AC
How much?
in the library, and we don't have to have a warrant article or anything like that, because no means no, if we decide to,
Take it out of that line.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be in support of that.
I'm kind of in favor of leaving it as a 2020 budget and not having a reduction.
John?
I can see both sides.
Okay.
Kind of tough shot.
Sherry?
I say leave it in there, and then
Okay.
if we end up
I
with
believe
a
we
small
have-
budget, they've got some money to work with.
Can I say?
Brenda?
one?
Yep.
One of the, air conditioning is a problem, and we realize if it goes to the town, we may never get it. We have a trustees meeting this Thursday, and one of the things we're gonna discuss, based on how much money we have left, we're gonna see if we maybe have enough money to take care of that. Because, like I said, if it goes for a town vote and it gets part of your budget, we can just kiss it goodbye. And, you know, you guys even came by, Naomi had somebody come by and take a look at the air conditioner. You can't even get replacement parts anymore.
He
It's
said that
15
too.
years old.
He said that too. He wouldn't even touch it because he
Yeah.
was afraid he couldn't
Yeah.
put it back together.
Well, it uses Freon.
So based on what we,
Freon, I don't, is that even,
yeah, you
It's
can't
different
get
grade,
it
it's
anymore.
different grades of it. It's still a
So, yeah, based on
Freon-based
what we
product.
have left and, you know, we may go ahead and, we're gonna try to see if we have money to take care of some, at least some of the air conditioning.
What money do you have left, Brenda, how much?
Is this where we are right now?
okay, for this year, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would have to be spent during this year, correct? If we, yeah, because
Yeah,
right
we
now,
have,
we're
we
at,
have to do it
we're
this
at
year.
154.77, so as you see, we do have quite a bit of money
Yeah,
left over
we have
for
money
December.
to,
So,
I mean, it's
yeah.
$20-some thousand, and we probably do, but I can't say what the trustees wanna do. But,
Do you have to use that by the end of the year?
exactly, and
Right.
that's what I'm
You
gonna
have to really get
suggest to
on it
them is
because
that,
We've only got 4 weeks.
but as long as we get someone contracted this year,
it's appropriate.
yeah.
Get signed, a contract signed.
Are you looking at encumbering
Yes.
money?
You come bring the money for,
Yeah,
okay.
and we've already got the 3 quotes, so it's just a matter of the trustees saying, okay, who should we go with?
Beth, they can encumber funds out of there, yeah.
So
And
we're
then
thinking of doing that and doing the painting, and since
Yeah.
the money is there right now, and we'll never be in a position like this again to have extra money to do
No.
anything.
We'll have to see if you have it though.
If we have it, I mean, it's
Because of
based on
shelves.
wages and the shelves, but, you know, I think we've already taken care of the money for the shelves.
Are the shelves in now, Brenda?
They're in the process of being,
Yes, they will be installed on the 28th, 29th.
yeah,
Oh.
that,
So, yeah, we
that
already have
wonderful human
contract
being,
everything.
Benji, he and his staff came by and did the
Yes.
demo.
Yeah, they
And,
did, right. Well, they did for the metal ones, and I'm hoping they're gonna come back in a few weeks and take care of the wooden shelves too. So,
But, yeah, the new shelves are slated to be in,
yeah, the 29th
Of
of
December.
December.
but yeah, based on what, information Clay presents to the trustees on Thursday, we'll know whether or not we can go forward with the AC and a couple other things that need maintenance over at the library.
Right.
So, getting back to the,
So the idea of going to 72, does that answer your question, leaving it at 4?
building maintenance and leave it at
Sounds like they're
72.
gonna take care
I'd
of
say
it right
leave it
now.
for them.
Yeah.
Leave it at 4 then, yeah, if
Leave
they've
it
got
this
enough.
year, because if they don't have enough,
Leave it at what, 4?
4.
Or
Because they're gonna
7,
take care of, it sounds like you're taking care of a good share of what you're gonna do, and
Yep.
either encumbering it out of this year's money.
I would say leave it at 4.
Then leave it, what they reduced it to at 4, yeah, the
Or they
proposed.
suggested 4K.
Thanks, Brenda. I'm glad you came.
I'm all set.
I'm all set, I didn't see anything else, John?
Nope.
John? Sherry?
no, no, that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Well done.
Thank you, Brenda. Thanks, Clay.
Tom?
Yes.
On that building maintenance line,
Yep.
It's easier than saying we're gonna increase it to 72, but anyways, that's your decision.
Yep.
The plan.
Okay. Okay. I guess the next item then will be smaller budget presentations. I guess that falls on to our honorable finance administrator. Oh, boy. More trees.
One more packet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe once you've done this, you've seen everybody for the first time, correct?
Yeah.
Everything's been gone through once.
We'll see how this one goes, but by the looks of some of the other ones, they did a good job keeping it down to what they really need, not what they want.
We didn't stray far.
No. No, I said so far, what I've seen, so.
I think we need to contest line 130, Rally Gate.
130?
Will you stop jumping ahead?
No. No,
130,
town line
this-
130.
Oh.
Excel spreadsheet line number 2.
Number two.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
He's starting right at the gate.
Yes.
Oh, why, what do
We
you,
always contest that one, don't we?
Yeah.
you wanna, what, decrease it or increase it?
Oh, it's always increase. That's our salary. Let's increase that.
Get 25 signatures put on the ballot.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Ricky.
I know.
Okay, do you want to start right off at the beginning, or do you want to go to page 8 and do Parks and Rec, so, while we have Janine? In case she-
Everything else looks pretty good, so.
Oh, you're
I'll
solo,
go back.
Janine?
I'm just hanging out.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
We'll start at page 1.
I'll start at page 1.
Yep.
Okay. So the town officer's salary, there is no change, sorry.
14A.
What was that?
14A.
We're just going to what's changed.
Yeah.
You just go, just cruise right along. All right, I would like, and this is my proposal, to add a computer equipment line into this building's budget.
Yep.
We don't have one. So when we buy computers, printers, whatever, it's coming out of office supplies. And those are spent real fast. So if it's okay, I'd like to put a computer equipment line.
So which line have they been coming out of?
And it's,
13?
No, whoever buys it comes out of the office supplies,
Yeah,
whichever department.
I think that's a better way to track it.
2,500.
She's got $1,000.
Only for $1,000.
$1,000.
That's it. The rest we'll find in our budgets, but this at least help us.
Yeah.
Okay, for the elections, line 29, that went up $50 due to the contract increase.
Okay.
Tax collector's budget, there was a new hire in 2020, so a lot of things are payroll-related changes. Did not receive the longevity, 52 weeks versus 53. You're gonna hear me say that probably a lot tonight. The employee's not taking insurance, so there'll be a buyout, which will be on them. But that's all in the default. So compared, if I just do the default versus proposed, there's gonna be a $111 increase for the computer support. It's an annual contract increase. For assessing, the only changes between the proposed and the default is going to be tax map maintenance, and that is because she's adding additional documents to parcels. I believe now she's gonna be able to do the
Yeah,
deeds.
and so that was something we talked about, and it's really a no-brainer for $500. And what it's gonna do is currently you have the tax maps and all the stuff online. This $500 is gonna get us the opportunity so that when Wendy gets the deed, instead of having to go to nhdeeds.com and fight your way through that mess, it literally is not as easy and user-friendly as it used to be. Wendy can take the deed to the property and attach it to what we already have online for an additional $500. So you can go out and get what you used to be able to get at the registry right there at your fingertips.
There you
It
go.
made sense.
Yep,
So putting copies of the deeds on the
To the parcels,
to the parcels.
as it transfers hands.
the public can see all that real time.
Yep.
I'm not sure I like that idea.
Well, it doesn't matter, because you can go to.
It's public.
I didn't mean it that way.
No, I know, I understand
I
that,
didn't
but
mean it that
I keep
way.
hearing these commercials about people stealing people's deeds and writing and selling them off with forged signatures. I'm just thinking from a security standpoint. I'm not.
Well, on the
there-
tax
there's-
card, we give the book and page at the registry. You go on to nhdeeds.com and you get it there anyway.
You got it there, you go to the registry.
Because we already give you the book and the page and how much it sold for, basically.
Okay, so if
the
it's already
top of it.
public available, then that's fine. I just,
Yep.
I didn't want to create it.
No.
If it
I think
wasn't
it would
already.
save some time on Wendy's part, if they research, when they click it and they can see it.
Okay.
That's why I just wanted to clarify what that $500 was for.
Okay.
There's gonna be a $50 increase in the telephone because, 2021 is a reval year, so the assessing department's gonna be making a lot of phone calls. Seminars and trainings, that line was zeroed out because when the departments were combined, she was receiving her seminars and trainings out of the other department. So she'd like it back into the assessing budget, along with mileage. Along with dues. Software support is $200 increase. What is that note, Wendy? I know $96 is Avatar. I'm not sure what that note is. 410.
4410 was the proposed 2021,
Thank you. There we go.
minus the expense,
Yep.
96 difference.
And for the office equipment, $200 because she needs a new printer and a table to put it on. Legal expenses. This is a department I reviewed with Naomi.
And I proposed a decrease,
Yeah, she did. She's positive.
Calm
because we're
down.
getting better.
She's positive.
Actually, yeah, we are getting way better.
Yes, look at those.
See?
Wow,
Patting yourself on the back, that
Yep.
one.
Yep.
wow. I'm impressed.
Yep.
Me too.
From years past.
Don't say too
very
much.
impressed. It's
I know.
from years past, that's.
I know, it's
Something that
amazing.
didn't seem attainable.
No, yeah.
Why'd planning board go up for legal?
Why did what go up?
Planning board, Excel line 83. Planning board went up $3,800.
I just divided the two
Evenly, 10,000
evenly,
each.
that's all I did.
Okay.
It's there's no rocket science behind it, I just divided it evenly.
Okay.
Why did we decrease Excel 82?
To share.
Because we're positive thinkers.
Where are you now? Back there?
Oh, for the legal.
Labor relations?
It doesn't even add up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. First page.
Um,
No, the 20,000's on the page before.
Yeah.
Legal fees.
I
We don't need bond counsel.
What's that?
We don't need bond counsel.
Yeah, but that's not on this, is it?
No, it was on the last page. So I reduced it based on 2020's expenses.
Labor relations. What is expended out of that line? That's for
Anything to
contracts.
do with, not just the contract, if we have an employee issue, it's not just the contract. It's if,
All personnel.
it's all personnel, really.
Okay.
Where legal fees are general legal fees, I try to keep the labor separately.
Okay.
And I dropped it to 17 based on the 2020.
Okay.
I would feel more comfortable leaving it at 20 rather than the 17.
Do you know something I don't?
No, just years track history, I don't feel comfortable dropping that
That much.
Would you feel more comfortable if we put the first page down to 17?
Do what?
So drop back to page 2. Instead of 20, move that to 17?
He doesn't think it's gonna be enough to it might not be enough to cover, right?
No, I'm thinking bottom line of the legal expenses line.
Okay, you wanted to leave it at 60.
No. Yes, excuse me, yes. I'd rather have it set 60 rather than 57.
Okay.
I'm only one vote, but that's my feeling. It's still
John?
it's still a decrease, but it's still a little bit more of a safety.
I think I know what's going on in Ricky's head, scary as that is. I kind of agree with him though.
Well, we can put it to 60 next year.
Sherry?
If it still look good, then drop it down 5,000 if it will go down under.
John? Your feeling?
Yeah, because going on what we expended this year, 17, I don't think will be enough. I really don't.
We did have a sharp drop, but it just from EMS days trending. Look at the trend, and it just don't take a sudden drop all of a sudden. And
I would rather see that up to
Well, if
60.
everybody behaves, it does.
Okay.
Well, that would be excellent, but
it would be
there are a lot of personalities out there.
some clash.
You don't really want to know my opinion.
So,
Instead of 57.
I would rather see that the total legal expenses line be 60 rather than 57.
okay. Is that the general consensus?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I agree with Ricky.
Okay. Can you do that, Beth?
I'll do that. Yep. Let's see. Okay, finance administration, budget. The difference between the proposed and the default is based on the warrant article 6 plus the BOS pay increase. Actually, that was 2019. Health insurance increase. Wage increase equals payroll tax increase. New Hampshire retirement system increase. And then the software support, line 99. Since we had the default budget in 2020, that's twice as much of an increase because I didn't get the increase last year that I proposed, so that's why I overspent that line. Town clerk, the changes between the proposed and the default. Telephone, she needs a second line in there now that the tax collector's line is out of that office. She needs 2 lines. So when we moved the tax collector out, we took her phone line with her. So she needs a second line in there. So if one's on the phone, the other one can make a call or answer a call.
Okay.
Life insurance will go down a little bit because of change in plan status. The safety deposit box, there was an increase in the fee. Software support, she received an actual cost for next year, so it's gonna be $4 higher. Postage, she needs a increase of $1,000 because there's been such an increase in online renewals.
1,000 or 100?
100.
Okay.
Probably should be 1,000. The way it's going. And then reduction of 160 because they're using online information, so they don't need to purchase the books. Any questions so far? Selectmen's office, the auditor's expense, we're proposing $225 increase versus last year's. The website hosting, we received a actual cost for that. That's gonna be $2,205, so it's $105 more than the default. No change in cable, no change in trustees of the trust fund. For land use, there is a change in the health insurance. Recording fees, oh, Naomi, you increased these. Any reason? Didn't put any notes, just what she's actually spent.
Yeah, and I looked at based on what she spent, to be honest. The recording fees, it seems to be, things are busier now than they were, so it costs more to record things. But they were based on, and I did issue the numbers on the proposed, but it was largely based on what we've spent, unless we know for actual costs of, like Southern Hampshire planning. That's an actual, the others are based on basically, prior.
Any questions on land use?
Excel line 165.
Okay, pass-through engineering?
Yep, a budget of $100. We spent $3,800.
Yep, that's
Still
just a,
keeping it as, what, do we know what that?
it's just a pass-through. The $100 is just really a holding spot.
Okay,
So we have to pay someone's engineering invoice, they reimburse us.
okay,
So
Same's on
see it
the
on the
revenue
revenue
side.
side.
But we have to have it to pass through.
okay.
Government buildings, based on the usage and what you guys locked in for Irving, some of the numbers went up and down. So for the heat for the town office building, that went up $90 because we average about 2,800 gallons at $2.50 a gallon. Sewer rent, we're expecting that to go down. I don't have that exact number yet. We have to wait for December 31st before we get that one. Fire extinguishers, that's the actual cost, $150 a year. There was a decrease in the heat for the stone building because we're using about 700 gallons at $1.28 a gallon. Decrease in the town hall heat because we're estimating about 2,000 gallons at $1.28. Decrease in the safety complex. Again, these, we proposed a lower rate last year, but we didn't get them because of the default, so. Same reductions we are asking for again. Highway garage, decrease of $400 because they're averaging about $750 a month. And the heat, decrease because they're averaging about 500 gallons at $1.28 a gallon. The transfer station, we're increasing that about $400 because of their use, which comes about $375 a month is their average. The heat for the transfer station, we reduced it by $196 because they're averaging 625 gallons. The fire station at the south end, using about 1,450 gallons. So we were able to reduce that by 556. And then the heat at the fire station on Sugar Hill, we increased that $159 based on 450 gallons usage. Again, that's just watching it over the years, seeing what the average usage is. Cemeteries, we're proposing no change. Insurances, we have to unfortunately propose a $17,022 increase. Last year's numbers were a default. So we have another increase again this year. Questions on that? Okay. The dues for the New Hampshire Municipal Association came in at $7,726, so that budget went up $57. With code enforcement officer, Naomi and I went back and forth on this, whether you're gonna propose the full-time code enforcement officer in the proposed budget, or if you're gonna do a separate warrant article. Right now, it's sitting in the proposed budget.
We put it in proposed, not sure how you want to do
How
it.
you guys wanna?
So you didn't lose sight of it.
Everybody else, we've always gone to the voters.
I would say it needs standalone.
But you didn't go to the voters, it was just at the podium.
Right. I don't
that's
disagree
not
with that, but this is.
I'm not looking to pick a butt, I'm just saying.
No, this is changing.
Consistency is what I'm asking
This
for.
is changing a status.
Yeah.
From part-time to full-time.
Yeah, because it's not just pay, it's also insurance and everything like
Benefits and
that.
everything like that,
Sure.
right?
I understand
This is
that.
a little different, I think.
Yeah.
We did the same thing with DPW, with transfer station, I believe, or highway. One of the two went from part to full, I think.
Yeah.
Highway.
Yep.
Highway.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say it should go as a warrant article.
Yep.
Okay, then we weren't sure, we just had to have that conversation.
Yeah,
I would
just
say
to let you
warrant
know what the
article.
numbers are gonna look like too for that.
So you see it increased at about 40-something thousand, so it will reduce whatever. But we have to. A good share of it's gonna reduce it to, yeah.
Okay, so on page 7, still on code enforcement, mileage reimbursement, that went from $200 down to $100. He'll be able to use the truck. Computer software, that went up with a 2% annual increase, so that went up to $4,590. Photocopier supplies for the Canon, which is the wide format, we increased that to $200 because we're gonna need to purchase ink in 2021. And office supplies went down $150 to try to kind of offset that. And then the code enforcement fuel went down to an even $1,000 because it averaged 500 gallons back in 2017 and 18, when we had a full-time code enforcement officer. Down to health, the only change there was the 52, 53 weeks. Same thing with welfare. And then we go on to Parks and Rec. I would like to talk to them about their wages, increasing those, what they'd like to propose, so we can get that in for 2021. So we left everything alone except for the printing. We increased that. It was at $50. We increased it to $500 because they do a lot of printing throughout the season. Outside services, that is for the porta potty rentals. We increased that to $3,400 because that's what they spend. The supply line, we increased that to $300, mainly on past expenses. Chase Park, we did increase that from $1,300 to $2,500 because they do have a request to purchase marker buoys.
If I can, Janine, didn't we discuss that at our last meeting, that it was gonna come out of this year's budget, the marker buoys?
It was gonna be water safety for the $1,000 of it, for the remaining, what do we have in there? Yeah, yes.
All of it.
We put a purchase order in Amazon to buy them this year with our existing budget.
Does this
And they
mean
don't
we
need
need
to
to
be
buy more?
replaced often.
No, okay.
So that line can come out then?
Yes, we don't need to, not remove the line, we don't need to increase it.
Correct.
No, leave the line, just don't increase it.
Right.
Because we, that expenditure's been taken care of.
Yes.
We'll get in contact regarding that. Okay, so that would be the last increase that we were proposing. Janine, is there anything else you guys?
So wages wise,
Yeah.
we were looking at, it's about 2,500 wage hours that were open during the season. So we were calculating about a $5,000 increase for wages.
So $2 an hour
Yeah, across the board.
Well, you see that with the increase in your non-resident?
Well, we don't get that.
That goes back to general fund.
That goes to general fund,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't get any of that. Oh, I didn't see it.
So they'd like to see 28,116 in the wage.
To roll back to past practice, raises for DPW employees have been put in front of the taxpayers. Does that should that be carried on here? When Benji wanted $1 for his guys, he went for a warrant article.
Is it different seasonal wise to full-time or?
I don't think it is, honestly.
I have no idea.
Personally, I don't think it is.
Sherry?
Employees and employee.
Yeah, I
Correct.
think put it to the vote.
I would think it should be a warrant article.
Yep.
So you
Not
look
saying they
at,
don't deserve it, but I think it's just, again, it's formality, I believe.
so you're looking to increase that line by,
No.
no, but I mean, if you pass, it's a
warrant
warrant article for $5,000,
Yeah.
be about $5,000?
Yeah, plus the payroll taxes related to it.
5,500 probably, the payroll taxes. and-
Say 6,000 for even numbers then, to make the payroll FICA and all that. Okay. Social Security.
So do you approve a warrant article to be put on?
I would say so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll write it up then. Okay, so we're proposing to increase their budget by 1,550. Okay, conservation, just the dues, because we received the invoice for 21 already, so it's gonna be $425. Ambulance billing, again, it's similar to a pass-through, but we have $10,000 on the revenue side that we're expecting next year, so we'll have $10,000 on the expense side as well. And that is it. No more increases or decreases. Any questions? Oh, there was a lot.
Nope.
Just wait till next time when you see it all.
Yeah.
Question, do you get to sleep better when this is all done?
Sleep.
So I guess the plan from here is,
Finance committee.
put it,
Yeah, the next one's, anything from the finance committee? No?
When
Okay.
do the articles have to be in? Is there a date?
Tomorrow.
Do they have to be in by
Yesterday.
tomorrow, all of them?
Warrant articles?
Holiday?
No, she's kidding you.
I was gonna say, I think she's pulling your leg a little bit. I'm like, that doesn't sound familiar.
I thought it was toward the end of December, or early January. When's the warrant articles?
So you can't tell when we're smirking, right?
Got like a mask for some
That's
reason.
payback for the Fred Ethel comment and the Beaver Smith.
I thought it was January.
Exactly. I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's some for zoning, and there's some for the regular, warrant.
Yeah.
And then petition.
Zoning ones, the petition one,
And then
I
there's
always tell
whatever
everybody the
petition.
first of the
Yeah,
year.
and then petition with a monetary amount.
Yeah.
But the sooner the better. Let's get this all wrapped up so
Well,
we
I don't
can.
have anything, I'm not putting
Oh, okay.
anything extra in.
Right, cause the
So,
plan would be,
next week,
if there's no
entirety?
questions, yeah, so the plan would be is we would have the whole rundown,
Next week.
top to bottom, next week. Now,
Yep.
police has a couple of changes, or no?
They're minor. He's really just explaining things a
Really?
little clearer.
Yeah, he pulled out a few things,
Right, you
but
guys
but the
changed a
bottom
couple
number
things.
didn't change.
No, no.
Really?
Not
Just
a
move
lot,
things
not
around.
really.
Made it easier for you to understand what he
Still
did.
gonna ask for what, one car or two cars?
One, but that's a warrant
Warrant
article.
article.
That's a warrant.
Yeah.
But the budget items that we pulled, that we moved around to different lines, I think, but it didn't change the bottom line.
No.
It was just moving funds around.
So Wednesday night, the three big departments go to
The-
finance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this Wednesday, the three larger committees are headed to finance.
Yep.
Okay.
So the plan would be, in 2 weeks from Wednesday, we'd like to be,
Done.
well, go to the finance committee with our package.
Yep. Okay.
So that's what next week we'll kind of toss together in the next week, some warrant articles.
Okay.
We have trimmed them down, and then we'll have the answer from the trustees of the library if they want to pull that one off.
Yep.
You've got the CIP, so those articles are there. There will be petition ones, maybe, I don't know.
Yep. Never know.
So you're looking to have the ninth?
Between the
9th or the 16th? 16th is 2 weeks from this Wednesday.
No, the
Tomorrow's the
7th and the
first.
14th is,
The
I'd like to
14th.
wrap things up between.
No, but I'm
the-
saying to bring it to the finance committee in 2 weeks, or you'd be bring it to them, our package to them on the 16th? Yep.
And that would be, then that would get us done, and they could have the time for the school.
Yep.
Are they
'Cause
ready
the
for us?
larger three departments are going this week.
Yep.
And then in 2 weeks, I'd like to do the rest of
Okay.
it, and then they
You asked for
can,
it.
because you're gonna get messed up through the holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah,
really?
Unless you don't do Christmas.
We'll be done.
So the 16th
Be a
is
Grinch.
not a Monday, though, is it?
No, Wednesday goes to.
It's a
finance.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any out? Did we have any out?
No, no.
No,
Cool.
I think we were done.
Got a lot of
And the
changes.
box is done too, right?
Changes.
Box is done, box straight behind you.
Okay, so,
Got the boxes all set too.
I guess one last question I have, off topic a little bit. How are we looking for
Oh, yeah, year end. There we
year-end
go.
budget numbers?
I knew there was one more thing.
Yeah, you know,
You
sometimes
read my mind.
sometimes I come up with good ones. Sometimes I don't, but
The jury's out on that one.
exactly.
Fantastic. It was a great year. Well,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, really.
We've had a
wait
great
till the
year.
shooter
It's
drops.
2020. I mean,
Yeah.
to be
Do
honest.
you, did you bring it down?
I think I have my copy.
Yeah, mine's up in the middle of something. Gosh. Along with everything else today.
So are we?
We're still in the red.
I hate these masks. Things.
We're in the black.
You didn't have a Black Friday?
I was seeing how many were in the black for Black Friday. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
Things are going well.
historically we've done spending freezes, et cetera. Are we close?
Oh, absolutely no. No.
Okay, good. That's what I like to
Departments
hear.
were really good when we were waiting to get our tax rate set.
Yeah.
They were really good. I mean, you saw the payables this week.
Yeah.
Wait till next week, because they got the green light. But yeah, they were really good. So, they know where they stand on their budgets.
Okay. Right. No, I think we got. I mean, I think they've done very well. I've done, you know, especially with considering the times, they've done very well.
Knock on wood, with the highway department, we haven't had
Yeah,
any
it's
snow or,
I think it's
It could change though soon.
could change tomorrow.
This weekend, I hear?
Yeah.
There's, you know, there's still that opportunity.
They did, 'cause I called Benji Friday, I almost slid sideways down the road. I think it was Black Friday.
Yeah.
So, I called him at about
Black
6:30 in the
Friday.
morning and said, oops.
They were out before that though, because,
No, he wasn't. Nobody was out. When I
State-
called
State
him,
was, I think.
the state,
somebody was.
Night patrol
when I
was out,
came
that's about it.
downstairs,
Night patrol-
Somebody was coming down, I thought it was a town truck, it was white coming down Perkins Pond, and it was about
night,
6 o'clock.
night patrol, and I called him at 6:30 and Benji was home and he said he'd get somebody out, so.
I just want to make noted, though, commendable job to all the department heads and departments for
They've done a great job this year.
keeping in the budgets and doing everything they do for us, especially in the corona times.
Yeah, great times with everything that's going on. Everybody's done a great job.
And I rode around on several of the roads here over the weekend, and let me tell you, what a difference having them fixed.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, my God,
That-
I
yeah.
couldn't believe it. hadn't been on some of these roads for a couple of months or
Yeah.
so, prior to them being fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's like a super highway.
Yeah, yeah. No, the roads are great. They really are.
Okay, next item will be the administrator's report.
Did we want
Or do you want to run up and do
well,
that?
do you wanna know what we're doing, where we are? Do you care? I'm just
Because we
asking.
care.
We trust you guys.
We trust you, that's you're the ones that are running
Well, I
this.
know off the top of the head, we're gonna come in about 369 under budget.
Right.
Cool.
369,000.
So there we go.
Over 200 of that is payroll, so I
Yeah.
don't wanna touch that.
Right.
Yep.
Go back,
That's fine.
because of vacancies.
Yeah.
So that leaves about 100.
So, still good, though.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep, I'm good with those numbers. I don't know about the rest of the board, but.
No,
a
we'll
good number.
just keep plugging along. I think everybody, like you said, department heads, even everybody in here has done a good job.
Oh, absolutely.
Watching over.
Yeah, and
managing
especially
everything.
with different hours and times, and we appreciate it. We
Yep.
do.
Yeah, we had some messed up points, but.
Yep.
I think
We're,
everybody
we're in uncharted waters. I think that's bound to happen occasionally.
hopefully the unchartedness is leaving soon.
Yeah, hopefully we get.
See.
Oh,
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
Great
So,
job.
Administrative report, I don't have one, sorry, but.
Okay,
Short week.
that's fine. Short
Well,
week.
it was a short week, but then,
Yeah.
to be honest, it was just, we had some staffing shortages and because of the long weekend, they back up their vacations, so Wednesday was a circus. So I really don't have anything other than I do have just, and I think we probably will get into it a little more, is I did get a email back from, you don't have any minutes to do, because we didn't get them out. Push to talk through Verizon. The gentleman got back to me this morning. They do have a push to talk, obviously, with, I don't know what LMR integration is, but.
Radio.
Radio.
And mobile
Okay.
radio.
Two-way radio.
So, they're interested in having, and this is what I'd like to do, is I'd like to set up a call, because they're not allowing them to come to in-person meetings. I guess Verizon's not. He'd like to set up a call to discuss the LMR integration and a demo. But I tell you, I mean, you guys know more than I do, so are there questions, or I don't know.
Well, let's see what he has to say.
They're the
so-
current carrier,
Yeah,
so we all have their phones.
yeah, well,
I don't think it would take much to do a demo, but I'm not sure.
No, so my concerns with going with Verizon, one, infrastructure. There's only 2 towers in town that are on Verizon. And the other big thing is if we're going to push interoperability, Verizon doesn't have that. They cannot communicate with FirstNet. They're 2 completely different proprietary systems. Which would, and going back to last week's presentation, personally, I wouldn't go with that, again, because it's a proprietary system to him, to R&R, that will not talk to Bedford or Goffstown if they go that route, or Milford, who's already looking at it, or anybody else. State Police, they're researching, I believe, FirstNet, if we're gonna be counting on them.
that doesn't mean they're gonna do away with their regular mobile two-way radio
No,
system.
and
So, I
and like
mean, we
you-
still have that
will you please
communication.
let me finish. You've said in the past that this is not a replacement, and I'm not looking for a replacement. My goal is to have a supplement for the police department, without having to spend potentially $500,000 that R&R quoted,
Or more.
or more.
I mean, I think in all fairness, we have to give everybody a shot at it, to be equal to everybody to come in and make a presentation. Whether we take it or not, we have to be above board and equal. The other thing is yeah, R&R is our current provider. He threw out a number, he's not sure what the number is until the engineers from,
Well, I'm not,
oh, but I mean from Motorola, so to discount him, not to say, oh, he's, off base as far as monetary. We don't even know what the monetary figure was gonna be. I mean.
no, I'm talking about the cell phone side of things. On
Well-
the radio side, I'm very interested to hear what Motorola comes up with. I
You know,
agree. We still need to address the radio side.
I think, yeah, so at this point, I think that's the biggest thing, because FirstNet, you're not gonna depend on it independently, because part of that deal is for them to be a trunking system to hook onto the back end of the radio. So, and I think that's gonna be, and that's a mega expense. I mean, for one handheld radio, the cheap end is about $6,000. You're looking at.
We don't have to buy radios, though.
Well, no, if you want to integrate the portables along with that, which is what?
No.
Well, you say no, but you don't know until we get all the facts and figures.
I've done quite a bit of research, and I've talked to a bunch of people.
So-
Radios are not required.
So have I, and I talked to the Derry police captain, and he said, yeah, he says, you're gonna have to at some point integrate
You have to
your
have
handhelds.
you have to have a couple of donors with our analog system, and they explain that here.
But the thing is that to do that, you have, to buy into that system, you're not gonna be carrying two pieces. You're gonna end up
You're
having,
carrying a cell phone like you always have with a remote microphone, and you're still carrying the original radio. That's not going away.
or you can integrate it all into one.
That's not my goal. I'm not looking to do that today. I'm looking to have a supplement, a backup to buy us time so we can still address the radio system.
Well, I think if you're gonna do one, I think you have to look at the whole system in totality, instead of buying one little added on piece.
And I don't disagree with either of you on this, but I do wholeheartedly agree with John on this, the fact that we have to do something now.
I don't disagree with that, but I think we have to look at all the options.
Can you?
Not narrow one on one.
What?
And
Can
then-
you?
And the other thing is we can't.
No means no for radio improvements.
Can't go out and
But
buy
a
it.
cell phone is not a radio improvement.
I thought we decided
No,
that.
you asked about the study for 29.5.
I thought the study was off the table, and that's not what we want to do.
No, the study
We-
was
We
on.
were gonna buy equipment.
You can't.
Why can't we?
Because
It's an
your
improvement.
purpose was for making improvements to the town emergencies radio communication system. That was what was on the table at the ballot.
The intent was to make a capital reserve fund to do that, which was defeated.
We're not looking to put money aside.
We're not looking to put money aside, we're looking to spend the money today.
Okay, because I asked about the survey, that 29.5, when it
Yep.
first showed up here, and
Yep.
that's the only question I asked.
Right.
So,
But to me,
so how are we gonna do this then?
I'd go back and ask, but I don't think that we can,
Maybe we get Laura's opinion on it like we did with.
right, I would
Yeah,
agree.
because I asked about the 29.5 study, and she
Correct.
didn't have an issue because it was a study
Yep.
versus the improvements. I didn't ask
But the
about.
thing is, we're not improving the radio system.
not.
We're having a separate system that
Right.
will still
We're-
allow them to talk.
We're
gonna have to pay
in all actuality, we're changing cell phone carriers. That's all we're doing.
Yes, that has capabilities to
But is
mimic
it,
a radio.
Right.
and I'll just
What's the
say,
bottom?
so
But
you're
what's the
gonna,
bottom dollar?
we don't
So-
know.
That's what we need to find out.
Right.
So-
But, so you're changing cell phone service for everybody, or for one, or
Well,
for
I
the
would start,
police?
Fire-
personally, if we were to make this decision today, I would say let's go police first and let biggest user, biggest gripers, and let them test it, and if it
we do it
works
for
great.
one, we gotta do it for all.
gotta do it for
You can't just
I'm
single
gonna-
it one.
I'm gonna disagree with that.
It'd have to be for all of them, not just
No,
one.
I think you've got three bills right now.
Yeah.
You have me and Benji and it was Chip's phone,
Yep.
now it's Kyle,
Yep.
on one account. You've got fire department on one account. You've got
Who only
police
has
department
only has
on,
a handful.
and the police department on, well, you don't have just a handful, you've got all your tablets and everything else
Right,
with it.
right.
Well, Beth sent out that
Yep.
that sheet today for us.
Right, so that included, you're right, the biggest user
It's PD by far,
is the police department,
with 19 phones.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Not all of them are being used at the present time.
Yeah,
Probably not.
that's a discussion for another day. but-
Right.
So 19 at $34.46, and the other ones are at $40, right?
What, the,
Then if
First
you
net?
wants to swap over.
FirstNet is $41 and change, I thought.
So I sent a text to Fong, the gentleman that was here,
Okay.
and I asked him, what is the monthly charge going to be for agency paid FirstNet phones? What is the plan details, unlimited? And then asked him what the charge for push-to-talk features was. It is an unlimited phone, data, and texting per month, per line, for $39.99. Again, this is all before taxes, obviously.
Yeah, so it's 40-something, yeah.
Yeah, so push to talk for phone to phone is $2 a line per month. And to integrate into the radio system, it's an additional $5 plus the $2. So you'd be looking at $47 a month for
One phone.
a radio system, for a phone to be able to talk to the radio system, not including the initial upfront purchase of the gateway plus.
I don't think you can do that, and we can't improve the radio system, and you're trying to improve the radio system.
That's still improving the radio system because you're gonna integrate it into the radio system.
I would disagree. I would wholeheartedly disagree.
I think he's right.
I think we have to ask
I think we have to.
I think you have to ask Laura, yeah.
Well, okay, so even if you take the LMR side out of it and go, the radio side of it, and just go phone to phone, at that point, technically, we're not adjusting that.
All we've done is change phone carriers.
Yep.
Yeah, and
At that
it's like,
point, you're right.
it's like having the old Nextel phones where you're just talking phone to phone.
At that point, you're right, but if you're
Which-
integrating it into the radio system, it may be an upgrade.
Well, that's a question.
That's a
It's a
question.
question.
Yep.
Yep, but even so, starting in March, that no means no goes away for this because we're not asking for anything, I'm assuming.
Right.
So that would reset that, and then at that point, we
I
can
don't know
continue.
when that sunsets or if it
It's a year.
does.
It's a year, because we went over that on the cars.
Yeah, it's a year.
It's a year. We went over that on the cars.
So,
So I, like I said, I would think that we are just changing the phone vendor at that point. And like I said, we'll have to get the answer from Laura on that article. I think we have 2 or 3 different ideas of how that was intended. She would be the tiebreaker on all that.
and we can always invite AT&T back in to answer everybody's questions with a definitive answer.
Right. But
no, in fairness, I agree. Let's have Verizon come in. Let's listen.
Well,
to
they
them.
won't, so what I was
Oh, well,
asking,
the
so where I
phone call.
started
The call.
was.
phone call is fine.
Is if, I don't think I have to do it in front of this TV, could we set up something Zoom
Sure.
and have them, and
Be a work
I'll
session.
be honest with you, I don't know anything about it.
Just be a work session, that's all.
So if I activated Zoom and let them, and you guys could answer questions, I'd happily listen.
Have them-
I don't know.
Have them do
But
their
they're not allowed to do an in-person
Oh, that's
meeting,
fine.
but
I'm-
I think
I'm
if
fine
I
with
could do something off night, I know you're at a different place, you're at a different place, you know what I mean, for meeting wise, I'd
Yep.
pick something
We
different.
pick a work
but
night that everybody's
pick a night
available.
that we could answer and ask questions, cause you're really over my head, to be honest with you.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So if I set that up with him, I'll let you know, we can do the whole Zoom and I can get it started, I can, then turn it over and you guys can ask questions, they can talk, they can, whatever. I think that the easiest way then, if they can't come here in person, I don't wanna do Zoom and then go back to a regular meeting.
Yeah.
And I think if I post that we're gonna just have a work session discussion, you
Yeah.
know, via Zoom, I guess I could put that out there.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone's interested in listening,
That would work.
they could do that too. I just think it's a start.
And going back to the question about monthly fees, it would be about $10 more a month per line for PD, based off of.
Well,
For the email.
they don't need 19 phones over there. They
Well,
only
that's a
got-
different discussion, so we could
Yeah.
shorten that up some.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as a whole, John and I spent some time back and forth with his phone and with the police department, back and forth. And my feel is, and maybe John can disagree, is the coverage of cell phone is better. Let's take radios out of this equation. The cell phone coverage of AT&T in the town of Weare
Is much better.
is better.
Better than Verizon.
Better
I
than
mean,
Verizon.
That's not, it doesn't take much to improve over
But the
Verizon.
nice thing about AT&T is, and I tested it and verified it in East Ware, if AT&T drops a signal and US Cellular is there, they will pick it up.
They all
automatically.
They have automatic, they all have their.
So-
But Verizon
Agreements.
doesn't have a roaming with US Cellular, I believe.
So with that said, we have, like I said, a better cell phone coverage provider for our town employees out there available. At dead minimum, I think we need to look into that. Because we have incidents where, you know, the PD, the fire, highway, they're down in East Ware Village, et cetera, and again, throw the radio, you'd be better fit. Need some kind of communication method to get out of there. Yeah, and if AT&T is gonna provide that with the cell phone coverage, I think that we owe it to our department heads to do that. And department members and.
But
and-
if, and I don't disagree with that, but I mean, if I've talked to a department head and they'd like to stay with Verizon because they don't have any issues, is that something you could do as well?
Well, again, I don't know if that's gonna be the case.
Well, they're 3 different accounts,
Right.
so it doesn't matter,
Right.
really.
AT&T has what, 6 towers in
6
there?
towers in this town.
Yeah, in this
And
town.
Verizon only has 2.
2. Mine Hill and something on the south end of
I
town.
would hope that if you
Is
wanna
Verizon on the other
communicate-
towers?
Nope.
No. Yeah, that's the one on the south side
one on
town.
the south
That's
end.
one on the
That's
south
a
side
US
town.
Cellular tower, right?
Looking at the FCC registration for Verizon towers, there's only 2 in town.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean that they don't have agreements on the other ones or something.
Yeah, I don't know what, I mean,
Well,
Those are the only registered transmitters with the FCC.
Right. So, and like, I mean, and I took John's phone up to the Bow Road, Abbey Road area, Abbey Drive, and I had the 2 of them next to each other, and Verizon I might as well just use as a wheel chalk. It just doesn't work up there. But AT&T had at least 1 bar, and it kept bouncing back and forth between Toby Hill and your tower and Forest Road.
Mine Hill, I thought too.
the Forest
It
Road.
did grab Mine Hill a couple times too, but it kept grabbing different towers, and I mean, I only lost service 3 times from going up Mountain Road, doing the Bow Road loop, and doing Abbey Drive. I didn't go down Cram. I lost only 3 times. Where
So-
Verizon, it cut out all the time.
Okay, so in Weare, that works well. If you're gonna go to another town, have you asked if they have FirstNet? Not many other towns are butting
So
us have FirstNet.
it doesn't have to be FirstNet. It'll still work on it'll work on the entire AT&T network. It doesn't have to be a FirstNet specific.
Right.
So when I was demoing the phone, I took it into Concord, I took it up in Hopkinton, down in Goffstown, and I still had signal. Jack, I believe you took it to
Did you
Hampton?
take it to work?
I took it to Portsmouth, I took
Yeah.
it into Maine, I took it over to,
As long as there's an
I
AT&T
took it up
signal,
north to
it works.
Laconia. I mean, it works, but I mean, it's also picking off other towers. I mean, which they have roaming rights to go on to other towers to pick
Oh,
them.
absolutely, but it's still a service.
Yeah, it's still a service.
It's still service.
I mean,
and
push
uninterrupted.
the talk, I could push the talk, and I'm talking in dozens of places to the captain of the Derry Police Department. I mean, and it works, but he said it's not the end all, he says it's still a
And I'm not
service.
looking for an end all
We're
either.
not looking for an end all.
Looking
And
for
it-
supplement
you could
until
still
we can
end up
figure out
in
the radio system.
Stuff, so.
I mean, we still need radio system improvements, there's no doubt about that, but.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we'd be, it'd be foolish of us to turn our back on something that could help, just in general, help the town and better the town.
Because I know some of those lines, I know there's 19 of them there, but some of the lines pay $15.
But some of those lines
They're
might
just
be
being held
MDTs,
for- they're probably
right?
It's a good possibility,
Yeah,
yeah.
so the car MDT computer might be one of those lines,
I know there's a few that are
Per.
$15.
Yeah.
which is probably the MDTs.
Or
The
it
old
could,
original price.
or it could be some phones that are just sitting on the shelf that have got the.
And that's a
kept their
possibility
lines
too. That
paying.
possibility
The
is there.
list that he gave me is,
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, there was a
There
couple
may
names
be
attached to
one.
phones that weren't being
You
used,
guys,
so.
I mean, we have fought to get that changed.
Yep.
Emily, I'll send it to you guys. Emily did a number, a name, and everything, and everybody has a phone, and I think they're mostly being used. I'll share with you the new list that I'm trying to get them to update,
Okay.
because I even can't update it. So I don't know what code I gotta break to do that, but I can't get it fixed. So I don't mind doing that. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, I've heard US Cellular people don't have it. I mean, in our household it's split.
Yeah.
He can talk places where I can't. I can talk places he can't.
Yep.
So it doesn't.
That's all of them.
It's
Just simple math on the PD, 19 minus 5 for the cars, 10 officers. It's pretty quick. It's pretty quick to add up
Well,
to,
the ACO's got one. The office person has
there you go.
one.
So 19 right there.
Yep.
You got it.
The office administrators.
All right, so
Office
maybe
administrator has
one's
one.
not being used.
ACO's got one. He's got one officer. That's why one phone's not being used.
Like I said-
He's got one vacancy.
So they
That's
have
why.
one, plus they have one in every car, an extra.
No. They carry one, and then the mobile. What are those?
Yeah, the mobile
Data
data.
system.
Mobile
Yeah,
data.
data
Yeah,
terminal.
the computer in the
Yeah.
car has to have a
Yeah.
connection.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't.
Which
I'm
would be
not
another good
opposed to-
question.
What's that?
Could the MDTs go on FirstNet?
Yes,
I think
they
it's
can.
all. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
because
it's
they
all-
gave us, what, 2 demos, I believe? Two little Wi-Fi hotspots?
Okay, so right there, so it could go on,
I-
okay.
I only got 8 phones.
Okay.
They never got the hotspots.
No hotspots.
Okay. Well, they said,
But I
they
think they said
said they do
hotspots were
have
available.
hotspots available. So.
Okay, because I only got the 8 phones because I got the label ready to send them back.
Yeah, that's all that came.
But yeah, they did mention that they do have FirstNet hotspots available.
Yeah.
But I did not ask what the monthly charge would be for that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Verizon's $5 a month.
We might want
And
to.
one of them gets mounted onto the car, is the one we were
ask
talking about.
Fire.
Yeah, I would imagine that all the cruisers would
I
have
don't know if
a
the
data line.
life.
I mean, they have a data
units
line now with their
are
little plugins for their
carrier specific.
laptops.
That's right.
Okay.
What was that, Ricky?
I don't
Who wants
know.
me to ask Fire?
Just if this is a potential thing we're reaching out to, I don't know if the life packs are vendor specific.
So, one of my previous
Because of the age of them, I'm not sure.
previous employer I had
Yep.
that went to the LifePak 15, I think it
Yep.
was. It was just Bluetooth. Didn't matter what or Bluetooth. Yeah, Bluetooth. It didn't matter what service it was.
Ours talk over LTE.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we have to
I can-
send
I'll ask.
information.
I'll have to
I would
ask.
ask. Yeah,
I
definitely
thought-
ask.
I thought they were when he brought it up before, but I don't
I can't remember if they're carrier specific or not.
What are your life packs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Defibrillator.
Yeah.
I thought they
That's-
were,
that's-
because he.
that's the brand name.
He
It's
bought,
like that.
he, what, 2 years ago, he bought some, or 3 years ago?
Yeah, I just can't
I
remember.
thought he had a
I
vendor
can't remember
for
if
him,
they're carrier
so-
specific or not. That's all.
And I also wanted to just reach out to Jeff to see if he heard from the map, because it was 2 weeks,
Yes.
which has been a week
Yeah,
today.
we should have been. Yeah,
It
should
was
have
a
been
week
here.
today.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
of
week
course,
today
the
since
holiday
he
was in there
there.
too, so
Right.
they might throw that.
As soon as we're talking about that, the whole R&R's proposal. My thought on that is it's definitely the phone side is nothing I'd be interested in. Because it's a system built for school buses, he admitted, and it doesn't have the proprietary to everybody else, no interoperability, no band priority. It didn't seem like a apples to apples.
Comparison.
About map.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so yours and my discussion. So at this point, what are we doing with FirstNet? Because remember, there was some.
Yeah, so FirstNet has the capability, for no cost to the town, to have a credentialing system. So a police officer who chooses to go FirstNet on their own, subscriber paid service, can be credentialed through Naomi, basically verified that yes, this person is an officer and they work for the town of Weare. And it doesn't cost us anything. All that does is enable them to get onto FirstNet. Doesn't cost the town anything. She's just basically, it's a system that says yes, this person is.
It's an affiliation verification.
He's the first responder, and it is,
Yep.
it's credentials, yeah.
So,
I have no problem with that.
yeah, no cost to the town. And we can have up to 4 administrators, I think. So it doesn't have to go through Naomi all the time if PD and Fire and Benji.
But I think we're gonna, before we say we're gonna hop into it, I think this is just my
I think
point,
just
is you don't wanna have too many all.
One-stop shopping, and then
Because we haven't made that
This doesn't
decision.
give us any commitment to switch to AT&T. All this is it's a separate system that says yes, this person is a law enforcement officer in the town of Weare. That's all that is.
It has nothing
And then
to do
they
with the town.
qualify for FirstNet on their own without having to have without the town paying for it.
It's just employment verification is all it really
Correct.
is.
I think I'd just leave it with, let Naomi be the administrator.
But I'm just saying, and John and I talked, because we were gonna talk last week, then we didn't have that conversation, so I just wanted to make sure that we're all up front. And I don't mind pushing that button. I have no idea who she was. It looked almost like it was.
Yeah,
Because
it was
she was
somebody completely different.
She was surprised that I was looking for a slip to return them, because I only thought we were.
Yeah,
good
she
for
had
2
nothing to do
weeks.
with that whole demo stuff.
Just confusing on my part, like, she's like, you're returning them?
Yeah, she had nothing to do with that.
Sending me the tracking slip or whatever.
But Fong said just give him a call and he'll walk you through what that needs to be done, provided nobody else has a problem with it.
I don't.
But yeah, it's just a verification system.
Yeah.
With no commitment to it at all.
I don't.
Okay. All right, so then I'll call him and then set up the other, but it will be a public workshop if somebody, but I think if we just had our conversation and just with that, and then that,
Yep, that's fine.
you know what I mean? The map, but
Mapping
I'll check on
thing.
both, I'll make an appointment and we can go from there. think we need to really think about actually what we're gonna do, because
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, in the mapping part
we
is,
need this study,
Let's see what the map says.
well,
because.
Motorola's the one that's not R&R, it's gonna be
No,
Motorola,
so we have a suggestion or a warrant article from CIP
Yeah.
for this 29 budget. Is that where we want to go? Because we're gonna be winding up here with warrant articles.
Yeah, I think,
I'm afraid to go warrant article with that, only because no means no, and it's been proven that the town doesn't like studies.
Correct.
And I'm not a proponent of it either.
and,
Well,
well,
I've
I'm not a
had some,
proponent
you
of
know,
taking it out of the
and-
budget, because we've only got one person that's come forward with it.
I don't disagree with that either. I want to see what Motorola kicks out
Yep.
before we go
Yeah,
and
make
spend-
any decision.
Before we make any decision.
So
on it.
FirstNet's the phone, I'm just trying to understand it in my head, I'm sorry. FirstNet's the phone, we still have the integration with Goffstown.
Yeah.
So the first step is just the phone, and
First step
then,
is the
so the
phone.
next technically would be your phone to work with your radio through Goffstown?
Through Goffstown Dispatch, yes. And that requires, rough numbers, an $8,000 piece of equipment.
In
Ga-
Goffstown?
Yep. What's called a gateway. And then that somehow, and don't know that, integrates with their dispatch console down there. So it's plugged in, so you key a button on your phone, goes through the cell network, hits
Yep.
this little $8,000 box,
Yep.
triggers their radio, and it transmits out whatever you're talking. And then whatever comes back goes back out through that radio.
So do you know, do we know, are they doing anything? Cause there was
Yeah,
talk,
Boston, yeah.
well, there was talk,
That they're
I
doing
know
some
I was
studies.
on it, they were gonna do some, and they were gonna reach out to New Boston and Weare, because we
I-
used them, but
I
I've
haven't
never
heard, I
heard
don't know.
anything.
I think that's
They were
stalled.
upgrading all their,
What?
I think it's stalled.
yeah, they were looking at $1 million price tag on some of that.
Right. Yeah, they were looking at upgrading the whole dispatch center, I believe.
But I understand in COVID, we still have crime, we still have everything. So to try to solve a problem, I'm just trying to,
Plus
figure out the whole step, because we do have them.
Plus,
you know,
they've
we don't
also
have
had an administrative change down there since we first started that discussion.
Because the
too.
one I talked with retired. Like I said, I'm just learning how the,
Yep.
because everybody's gotta be part of it, I would think.
And then this Motorola study is strictly the radio system.
It's just the whole
antenna
coverage,
system.
the coverage.
Yeah.
Give us the
antenna-
coverage, the
antenna,
best.
The coverage, but it's only radios, nothing to do with cell phone, nothing to do with FirstNet, nothing to do with.
Right, and the cell phone's gonna integrate with it.
Once you buy a
Maybe.
piece of equipment.
Once you buy a
yes.
piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Which, talking with the police chief, could potentially be able to fund that out of his budget. That's where we probably ought to check with Laura and make sure that
That can all be done.
that can be done. And this year, or would that have to wait until March vote, after March vote?
And that's probably all gonna be hinged upon the whole no means no and the whole, yeah.
Right.
Well, no means no, that would affect the radio side, the radio
Well, no,
integration.
because it talked about it, so if he's looking to do something with
It was to
improvements.
integrate into
Right.
it.
Yeah, that would have to
maybe.
wait, yes.
Right,
Yep.
yep.
But then, I mean, we can't at least have the phones
Right.
going.
For better cell phone coverage.
Yeah, because when the radios don't work, they try to switch to their cell phones.
And cell phones don't work.
But so let me
Right,
ask you
trouble.
this, so right now, if they switch to the cell phone, then they gotta use the cell phone to call dispatch?
Yep.
Yep.
And oftentimes they don't have a cell signal. If the radios are dead,
Yeah.
they don't have a cell signal.
Then they're trying to use a phone, trying to.
Whereas
It's-
one particular
which
officer
radio
uses
phone?
his personal phone, which is AT&T,
Mm-hmm.
and he's able to talk to dispatch, whereas the town Verizon phone won't have a signal in some places.
Yep. All right,
Which
I guess
radio?
we'll keep this
Portables or
moving,
the-
but, like I said, I really,
Portables.
I'm learning, so.
Yep.
And I think we all are learning. But I really honestly didn't have anything more than that. So can I just, and I hate to do this, can I just go back to, the first discussion when the gentlemen were here in regards to the noise? So when we sent them away, when you told them to do a petition, are you looking for him to do a petition with the verbiage included? Was that what you want?
I would think so.
Because I don't know that that got the message away.
Well, yeah,
I just
he
wanted
told
to-
him that he has to write the verbiage for it, so.
Okay, well, I just wanted to just follow up with him, because
Yeah.
I think there might have been some cue. So you're looking for him to write the
Yeah.
noise ordinance and to get a
What
petition?
he wants
Okay.
specific to that.
Okay, I think it's worth a follow-up, just so
Yep.
nobody gets left out in the
But we do
deadline.
need to make it clear that a petition warrant article is not a
advisory
binding.
only.
It's not a binding.
Mhm.
It's advisory, right?
I just wanted to give him a deadline too, because I don't have it with me, and just make sure that he's on the same page.
It's a real,
I think it's only fair.
the whole thing's a conundrum. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
my personal experience with this stuff is that I don't know why it's out there. It's a binary explosive, and they're allowing it unregulated to go out. Where there are other binary explosives in the market that are regulated a lot harder, that you have to have a license, you have to have from the feds, from the state to go do this. And unfortunately, it slipped by someplace.
The problem is it's still a legal product, and there's
Yeah,
not,
it's still out
This explosive's a legal
Yeah.
product, but there's no restrictions on this, and that's the issue. I mean, you could get 50 pounds of it, put it together and set it off, and I mean, you're gonna have a mini nuclear device, it sounds like, the one off down there.
But legally.
But
it
legally.
would be legal, yeah.
There you
I
go.
mean, I can do the same thing legally,
it's
but I've
loopholes.
got licenses and
Right.
other stuff, whereas, too many incidents have happened, or people have gotten hurt or killed because of being foolish with it, so.
But again, it's a
It's a
legally-
legal issue, so
legally
this-
obtained
We
product.
can't do it.
He could probably, if he's gonna put an article together or whatever, he could probably even put like the decimal system, or how high, you know. because they
Do we have
that, right?
yes, I mean, there's certain restrictions for that under the US Bureau of Mines, for certain parts of certain air pressure, overpressure, the noise will cause damage.
Right.
But
Who's gonna
who's
police
gonna
it?
be the scientists to do that? Who's gonna police it? How are you gonna regulate it? The cops aren't gonna have a decibel meter to get the readings every time it goes off. You
Well,
gotta
and
be
that's the
right
thing.
there.
You know, it's gotta be, somebody's gotta be in the
It
area.
has to be right there,
You
catch
have to
it.
be right there monitoring it, and,
Somebody that lived on Hoyt Mill Road, if they.
but I
had one,
mean,
they
you
could-
want, that's again, it's.
Fired off once and who did
It's
it?
sensitive, and you have to get the equipment, and that's not cheap,
No,
No, I don't think putting that in there is, they tried doing that with exhausts and
well,
loud
they
exhausts.
do that with inspections, or they did.
Yeah, they do it,
Motorcycle inspection.
For
motorcycle, and they do it with vehicle
But you know,
inspection,
they're
but
not-
it's.
Those are easier to
it's
test and
easier.
easier to
But
regulate.
they're not enforcing the motorcycle stuff, I can tell
They
you
do when
that.
No,
they
they
can
don't.
get it. I mean,
It's
it's
a-
not high on the
They
priority
do when they can
list.
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's when they can
You
get
gotta
it.
catch them first.
But the
I
problem
can tell
is
you, they come off Perkins Pond in the summertime, and the windows are closed, and it can take you right out of bed at 4
But
o'clock
again-
in the morning.
But again, is there a valid sticker on it? Probably not.
Oh, I don't know.
So, I mean, that's the thing, I mean, that's,
But again, that's a reproducible thing that can be caught.
Right.
A tannerite explosion is when it's gone.
At 2, 2.5, 1.5, whatever, once it's gone, it's gone.
Yep. All you have is a crater, small crater.
Small or big, yeah.
So I don't have it, honestly, I don't have anything more, and I don't believe we had any correspondence, I would've passed it off.
No.
okay,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
second.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.